might have waited for me.
I'll put this in your room. You're in the attic now, all by yourself.
But I don't want a room to myself.
Well, that's what you've got. Mrs. Bourne's orders.
Anne? Liz? Mummy? Anyone at home?
Darling, you're back. I didn't hear the car.
Only just got here. Gates has taken my trunk upstairs. Is it true I've got a room of my own?
In the attic, darling, yes. Well, it's time you did.
But I like sharing with Anne. We chatted together in the night.
Well, you're both quite old enough to have a room of your own now. Anyway, how was school? Was it rather sad the last day or two?
Not bad, really. I wept a bit at the school concert last night. To think I'd never sit in main hall again as an inmate. Oh, but now I'm home. It's lovely to think I've left. No more school. Where are the others?
Liz went upstairs to read in her room. I'm afraid she's in for a cold.
Oh, no, at Christmas.
Nanny's getting tea ready in the dining room. And Anne and Daddy were going over to the farm to look at the pond. There they are.
Vicky, you're back. Sorry we went in to greet you. We've been sliding.
Yes, pond's frozen over. It's quite thick ice. Hello, Vicky. Welcome home.
After tea, I'm going to search the schoolroom cupboard for some skates. I know we've got a pair somewhere.
Yes, your nanny will find them, no doubt, if they exist.
Well, you won't be able to skate now, darling. It's almost dark.
Oh, we can tomorrow.
Well, if it doesn't thaw, you know, the grass is going up.
Have you heard I've got a room of my own?
Yes, where Granny's maid used to sleep when she came here. Looks out onto the front lawn. And you can see the top of your beloved cedar tree from the window.
Can I?
Doesn't that cheer you up?
Yes, but I'll still miss our midnight chinwags.
We can still pay calls on each other when we feel like it.
I put Miss Vicky's trunk in her room, madam. Had a bit of a struggle getting it up the attic stairs.
Oh, yes, dear, they are narrow.
How did the Wolsey go going up to the station?
Oh, much better now, sir. Since those sparking plugs were clean, she's running a good deal smoother now, sir.
Good.
Oh, you won't forget the fairy lights for the Christmas tree, will you, Gates?
I'll pop in and do them tomorrow afternoon, madam.
Thank you very much.
Good night.
Good night, sir.
Come along, darling. Come upstairs and see your new room, and you can wash your hands for tea.
All right.
Nanny can unpack your trunk later.
You've got an old pinky chintz bedspread Nanny found in the ottoman. And Mummy's given you a lamp for your dressing table.
How lovely.
It's a china nymph with nothing on. Quite pretty, really, only her behind's got chipped. This got church mate last summer was one of the
There you are.
Enter 3 human icicles.
Well, you come and sit down by the fire, Mother. Phil, you look quite blue.
I can't feel my toes.
My dear, it's like Siberia out there.
Yes, I know it is. Anne and I just been sliding on the pond this afternoon, you know. I don't think we got any toes at all.
You should have gone for a good walk like us.
Where'd you go?
Up the drive as far as the lodge and back through the kitchen garden.
Well, it's not very far.
Quite far enough at our age.
Poor Phyllis having to drag along with the old crocs.
Anything to get Mother into the fresh air.
It's all I can do to drag myself from my flat in Artillery Mansions to the Army and Navy stores, and it's only a few hundred yards.
I never walk in London. I don't have time. Where's Helen?
Upstairs. Miss Victoria, home from school.
Oh, she's come.
They've gone up to her room. Oh, I think tea in the dining room today, you know, there's so many of us.
Oh, good. We'll go and tidy, Phyllis.
Right.
Come along.
Oh, so she's finished for school now, has she?
Vicky, yes. Well, she's left St. Mary's, but she's not finished, if you see what I mean. No, we're not quite out of the wood as far as education is concerned, Charles. Not quite.
Pity. Well, let's hope they all find suitable husbands before too long.
Amen to that.
Mind if I come in?
You needn't knock.
Oh, yes, I should. You're entitled to your privacy now with your own room.
Don't you look beautiful?
Do I?
Oh, yes. Terribly glamorous.
It's only an old dress Liz had when she came out and Nanny altered for me. Here.
I'll feel terribly awkward going downstairs for dinner.
Why? It's great fun. Besides, you get more food downstairs.
I'm not in the proper clothes. And I shall have to make polite conversation, won't I?
Not if you sit next to Grandpapa, you won't. He'll do all the talking. Vicky, what's the matter? You seem a bit down in the dumps.
Do I?
Yes, you do. Cheer up, it's the Christmas holidays. Aren't you excited?
Of course I am. It's just that Mummy seems a bit funny. Oh, I don't know. She's not quite like she usually is. As if she knew something I didn't. You know, as if she were keeping something from me.
That's silly.
She's not ill or anything, is she? Or rowing with Daddy?
Of course not. Everything's perfect. There are all sorts of Christmas plans. I'm going to a fancy dress party over at Roxburgh Park on New Year's Eve with the Addisons. And we're all going to the Boxing Day meet on Boxing Day. You, I and Liz, well, if her cold's better, are going carol singing round the village tomorrow night. And on Christmas Eve, you're going to the Pony Club dance at Horbury Town Hall with the Baileys.
Dance? Oh, I couldn't. I'd be terrified.
No, you wouldn't. Terrified at a dance? How ridiculous.
I don't want to go. I haven't got to, have I?
Of course you have. Mummy's accepted for you.
But I'll be a wallflower. Oh, and nobody will dance with me. I couldn't. I won't.
Don't be so silly.
I shall refuse to go.
They'll make you.
Then I'll be ill. I'll catch Liz's cold.
No, you won't. Vicky, you've got to start going to dances sometime. You're going to be 17. Come on, we must go down or we'll be late. And you know how punctual Granny is for meals.
You go. I haven't finished doing my hair yet.
Well, don't be too long.
Glass of sherry, Mother.
Just a sip, dear.
Fill beer, dear. Give that to Mother, would you? Oh, what about yourself?
Yes, please, Arthur. And more than just a sip for me.
Am I the last?
No, far from it. I'm afraid there is no sign of my wife or my 3 daughters. I apologise.
Dear.
Helen's down, I know, in the kitchen. I heard her voice up the back stairs discussing the sauce with Mrs. Gates as I came out of the bathroom. Oh, I did enjoy my bath. Lovely long soak.
Sorry, I had to wait for the bath water to heat up.
My fault, I had rather a full one. Or someone did. Oh, Daddy, is that for me?
No, you give that to Grandpa.
Ah,
It's not quite
thank
ready
you.
yet.
Thank
You
you.
got time for a sherry, then?
Yes, thank you, darling. I'll put you at the head of the table, Father, as we're 8.
Anywhere you say, my dear.
I'm sorry we're so many females for you.
I adore the company of females, particularly in the holidays. Quite enough of scruffy boys round my table at Eton in school time.
Anyway, you'll be all right when we all go off to powder our noses. You and Daddy can have a good long man's chat over your port, can't they, Mummy?
Not too long, darling. Mrs. Gates has to lay out for breakfast before she goes.
You should think of those things, Anne. She's a human being, you know, not a robot.
Sorry I'm late. My hair wouldn't stick down.
It's all right, darling.
I think your hair looks very pretty, Vicky.
Thank you, Aunt Phyllis.
As we've got a few minutes before we go in... Oh, have we, Helen?
Yes, the soup's not quite ready yet.
Then why don't you give us a little piece on the piano? I'm longing to hear you play.
Oh, would that be all right?
Yes, if you like.
Yes, that's right. A little music to whet our appetites for dinner.
What shall I play?
Well, anything, Vicky. It'll help settle her nerves. First time down to dinner.
I know that piece. Klaus von Heinig used to play it. He often used to play to us in the evenings. He was such an awfully good pianist. You'll be able to play duets with him, Vicky. And I expect he'll take you to some lovely concerts in Munich. You being so musical and...
Munich? Did you say Munich?
Oh, God.
I'm being sent to Munich like Anne, aren't I, Mummy?
And we did agree.
Oh, I'm sorry, I forgot.
I'm going to be sent away. Abroad.
Now, Vicky, we were going to tell you about it after Christmas. Let you have Christmas first.
Oh, please not.
You'll love it, Vic. I did.
It's all right for you, Anne. You can get on with people. I can't.
No, it's out, darling. You might as well know. Frau von Heinig has written to say that she can take you on the 19th.
The 19th?
Of January.
But that's only 3 weeks. Oh, Mummy, oh, please not. I don't want to go away, not when I've just come home.
Listen, now, Vicky, I suggest we don't start a family row, dear. Not just before dinner, not with Granny here.
I know why you
Grandpa.
didn't tell me. Because you knew it was cruel to send me to Germany. You know I'm frightened of people I don't know. You're just trying to get me out of the way.
Vicky, what on earth do you think you're saying?
Because I'm no good at making friends and I'm not pretty like Anne is or clever like Liz. That's why you're sending me away and ruining my Christmas
Now,
holiday.
Vicky, you better go upstairs if you can't control yourself better than that.
You're not a child any longer.
Yes, I know I'm not. I'm nearly 17. That's what you keep saying. Because you want to get rid of me. You
You're cruel and brutal and I hate you!
Now then, Vicky, you go upstairs again and you have your supper in the schoolroom. You're obviously not fit to dine with us here downstairs.
I don't want to!
Anne, go upstairs and ask Nanny to get her something on a tray, would you? Yes, Mum. I'm so sorry, everybody. She's tired after her long train journey.
It was because she was playing the piano so beautifully. I just wanted her to look forward to going. I didn't think what I was saying. I'm so sorry.
It's all right, Anne.
Well, there's an exhibition of temper for you. Just like our grandfather. Not you, Charles. My Billy. He used to blow up like that quite frequently.
The child's full of talent, Arthur. Don't you think you could make allowances for her temperament?
Talent is no excuse for bad manners, Phil.
I thought it would be so good for her to go abroad on her own.
I've no doubt her music will improve in Munich. Those beastly Germans make their children practice scales over and over on pain of a whipping.
Granny, how could you say that? She's with Nanny.
Well, we'd better go in. Come along, Alice, before the soup gets cold.
Well, pity about that. I'd spoilt my appetite for dinner.
The Von Heinigs are so nice, too.
Anyone would think the wretched child was being sent off to the North Pole.
Well, come along then.
Bourne. Happy Christmas Eve. Yes, I will. Ronnie, am I right in thinking you're going to the Pony Club dance tonight? I thought you would be. Well, Ronnie, how would you like to earn a bob rather easily? I was sure you'd say that. Well, who wouldn't? Well, it may sound a bit dotty, but all you have to do is ask Sister Vicky for a dance tonight. At the... Yes. Oh, because she's going with Mrs. Bailey and Priscilla, and she's terribly frightened and shy, and she thinks she's going to be a wallflower. I know, but she won't believe it. And Liz and I, for all sorts of reasons, want her very much to have a good time tonight. What? Well, I'm sure you would, Ronnie, because you're so nice and a dear friend and awfully polite. But I'd much rather pay you. Well, you know, do the thing on a professional basis. Well, it's a bob a dance, so if you can manage more than one, I'll send you a postal order after Christmas. Your what? Give it to charity? Well, if you want to. Thanks, Ronnie, that's marvellous. Bye. Ronnie Dawson's okay? So that's 4 boys, all pretty reliable. So if each of them goes for the 2 bob and dances with her twice, she gets 8 dances for 8 bob. That's not too bad.
Not too bad. It's wonderful. I wish someone had done that for me at my first grown-up dance.
You didn't need it. You weren't shy.
Shy? My God, I was petrified. Very nearly sick on the stairs. You coming up?
Yes. We must get this shoe problem settled. We can't send Vicky to the dance in her stockinged feet. She'll get her toes crushed.
There. Are you warm enough?
I am now. Had to put another log on the fire.
Oh, I'd have done it.
Where is everybody?
The girls are up in the schoolroom. Arthur had to go over to Dunsford to see the magistrate's clerk about something, and Phyllis very sweetly motored Father over to Hereford to see the cathedral and have tea with the organist. He's one of his old boys. They'll all be back later to dinner.
I'm worried about Arthur, you know.
Are you? Why?
He's looking tired and debilitated. Don't you think he is?
Well, I was just thinking this morning how well he's been looking lately.
Well, I don't agree with you. He's worrying about money.
Oh, who isn't these days?
His Navy pension and what his father left him isn't enough to run this place on. Anyone can see that.
It's not a lot, Alice, but we do manage.
He won't get much from me, you know, when I go.
Well, of course not. I mean, you shouldn't say that, Alice.
If he'd come back to study his law again after the war, instead of staying on in the Navy, he'd have been quite well off now, you know. Might have been a KC, making a fortune like Norman Burkett and all of them.
Yes, Alice, we've been into all that. He chose to stay in the Navy, partly because he grew to love it in the war, and partly because 4 years of fighting at sea left him, well, not inclined to go back to Oxford again as an undergraduate.
Then he was a fool.
Not at all, Alice. You know perfectly well he did it to please his father. Would you rather he'd have sold Larkfield in 1924 when Grandpa Bourne died, instead of trying to keep it up? He'd have got a good job in the city with his brains, and we could have brought the girls up in London and had no financial worries at all, none.
No, he did the right thing to take on Larkfield and keep it up. I'd never have forgiven him if he hadn't, nor would his father.
Well, then you mustn't complain if we're short of money. I don't.
You're a good girl, Helen.
I do my best. Oh, that sounds like Father and Phyllis.
Oh, thank you. Oh. Thank you, my dear. Well, we're back. Mercifully in one piece. My goodness me. Phyllis drives that machine like Boadiceu's chariot. I'd put the wind up me.
Oh, nonsense. 50 miles an hour isn't fast. Not on a good road.
Did you have a nice afternoon?
Oh, delightful. Cathedral was very fine. Ambrose Major's got dreadfully fat. Comes of sitting up in the organ loft all day, I suppose. Doesn't get enough exercise.
The choir were practicing. Such a lovely sound.
Yeah. Unlike that cacophony upstairs, what on earth is it?
Anne's portable gramophone. She carts it around from room to room. They must have left a door open. Anne, darling, do close that door, would you? There, thank you. There, that's better.
What are they doing up there?
Just amusing themselves, I suppose. There you are, darling. I just came to say goodnight.
Oh, I see.
Where have you been?
Well, nowhere. Just delivering something.
Well,
do you think Vicky will be home late?
oh, I don't think so. Nanny insists on waiting up for her, so I'm going to bed. I shan't sleep till she's home, of course, but I might as well keep warm and read a book.
Yes.
Well, good night, darling.
Good night, Mummy.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Bailey. Good night. Fill me with flaming desire, setting my being completely on fire. Nanny, I saw the light under the door.
Oh, gone 2 o'clock, goodness me.
Oh, you shouldn't have waited up for
Well,
me.
of course I did. I wanted to be sure you got home all right. And did you enjoy yourself?
Oh, Nan, it was wonderful. We stayed until the bitter end. We had bacon and egg, and I had quite a lot of cider, and lots of dances. We had this band over from Hereford that played all the latest tunes. We had a Paul Jones, and reels too, and a galop.
Shall we wait a little bit, dear?
And we had dance cards.
Oh,
look, here's mine, with all the names of my partners written on it.
Oh,
thanks.
I thought I heard your voice.
Children, don't shout.
Was it terrific fun? I knew it would be.
Oh, yes, it was marvellous. I had nearly every dance and supper with Ronnie.
I told you, didn't I?
And Mrs. Bailey said how nice I looked going there in their car, and so did Priscilla too. I think that made me feel sort of all right before we started.
There you are, Nan. Wasn't it worth all the trouble?
Oh, I dare say.
There was one young man I danced with, someone Priscilla knew and introduced me to. David somebody, Willett or Wilmot. Anyway, he was talking about going abroad, and I told him I was going to Germany in the new year, and he told me so was he, and asked me where I was going. And when I said where, he said how funny, because he was going to Dresden to learn German, because his father wanted him to go into the foreign office.
Yes, go on. What happened?
Well, this David, whatever his name was...
Well, you ought to have found out.
Yes, I know, but I couldn't hear what Priscilla said. The music was rather loud. I'll ask her tomorrow. Anyway, he was very nice.
Yes, I'm sure he was, but what did he say?
Well, I said if he was going to be in Germany, and I was too, perhaps we could meet sometime and have tea together. And he roared with laughter. Oh, not nastily. He just laughed.
Why?
Sounds rather a rude young man.
Oh, no, you see, he laughed because the idea of us meeting in Germany was impossible.
I should say so. Do you realise where Dresden is?
Oh, no. Isn't it anywhere near Munich?
Come here, silly. Here's Germany here, you see, Vic?
Oh, yes, it's big, isn't it?
Very. Here's Munich, here in Bavaria. That's you there. And here's Dresden, in Saxony. That's David What's-his-name. They're a distance apart of at least 300 miles, so you could hardly meet for tea in the afternoon. No wonder he laughed.
Oh, I see.
Anyway, Bavaria's much nicer, and I expect the von Heinigs will take you skiing. They've got a chalet near Garmisch. And Munich's a lovely city.
Jawohl.
Who taught you that?
David, what's his name?
That's right. And you must learn to say, Guten Morgen, Herr von Heinig.
Guten Morgen, Herr von Heinig.
Not bad. Come on, I'll see you to your room.
Thanks. Oh, gosh.
Your voice is down. You're waking up the whole house.
Guten Morgen, Frau von Heinig.
Guten Morgen, Frau von Heinig.
Darf ich den Butter haben?
What's that?
May I have the butter?
Darf ich den Butter haben? Oh, dear. I'm frightened all over again. Nanny, I don't want to go abroad.
You've got to, Vicky. Your nursery days are over now.
you feeling?
Oh, it's just a cold, nothing worse. Oh, don't let Nanny alarm you.
She can't forget how ill your father was as a schoolboy.
But that was TB. This is merely a common cold.
Bless you. Nanny seems to think you're a bit chesty too, are you?
Chesty? What does that mean? I wish Nanny would get it into her head that I'd forgotten more about medicine than she ever knew.
I don't think your Oxford degree impresses her very much. She's always known better than Dr. Cropper ever since you were a tiny baby.
Did you say Dr. Cropper? Mummy's quite right. I think he ought to be sent for.
Oh, not on Boxing Day, Nanny. Tomorrow, if she isn't any better.
Boxing Day or no Boxing Day, I don't like the sound of that cough. Now, you drink that down, and I'll be in later. Rub your chest with camphorated oil.
Very well, Nanny.
That's better. Now, what about your breakfast, Mrs. Bourne?
Oh, I'll just have a cup of coffee in my room, Nanny, while I dress.
Oh, no, I think you ought to have some hot food inside you before you go out in the cold.
I couldn't eat a thing this morning, Nanny, not after yesterday.
Oh, well, see you not be late for the meet. And mind you wrap up warm, Mrs. Bourne. It's a raw kind of a morning.
Who can that be ringing at this hour?
Well, someone for Anne, I expect.
Well, you stay in bed and keep warm, and I'll look in again before we leave. Is that piano going to disturb you?
Well, it won't last long if Vicky's going to the meet. And by the way, I didn't thank you properly for those 2 heavenly nighties you gave me.
I hoped you'd like them.
It's the telephone for you, Liz. Someone called Oliver Horner.
Oh, would you like to talk to him, darling?
Not really. Oh, say I've got a beast of a cold and I'm running a temperature.
Why don't you ask him to ring up again this afternoon when the house is a bit warmer? Oh, wait a minute. I've got a better idea. I'll speak to him myself.
My poor old mother. She's so keen on Oliver.
Is he horribly eligible?
I suppose he is.
Are you keen on him?
Oh, I like Oliver. One couldn't really not like him. But I doubt if we've got an awful lot in common now.
You've changed so much during these last 3 years, Liz.
I suppose I have. Listen to Vicky. She's good, isn't she?
At the moment, she's showing off. Yes, she is good. Very good indeed.
Poor Mummy and Daddy. One daughter wanting to be a doctor and the other a concert pianist, and all they want is for us to marry suitable husbands. I suppose mothers are all the same. Was Granny like that with you?
Well, I belong to a generation where most of the young men one knew were killed in the war.
Yes, of course. Sorry, Aunt Phyllis.
Don't you think you could stop calling me Aunt Phyllis now? Makes me feel my age.
Which you certainly don't look.
Thank you kindly.
Oliver's promised to ring up again this evening after hunting. Now, I simply must go and get dressed.
My poor mother, she does try.
Good morning.
Good morning, Doctor.
How are you, Nanny?
Oh, very well, thank you.
Safely over Christmas?
Yes, thank you.
Good. Good. Family out?
Yes, the commander's gone shooting. And Mrs. Bourne went to Horbury to shop.
Ah, I thought it was her motor we passed on the way.
Yes.
This is Dr. Harrington. He'll be taking over my practice later in the year. At present, we're working together. Nanny Bourne, a very old friend.
Pleased to meet you, Miss Bourne.
Doctor, Dr. Cropper, Lady Bourne's very anxious to see you before you go.
Ah, she always wants to see me at Christmas time. Is she in her usual room?
Yes, the blue room.
Good.
But I think you ought to see Miss Elizabeth first, Doctor.
Oh,
I
I
don't
think...
like the sound of her chest.
I think we can leave Elizabeth to Dr. Harrington. You'll have a look at her.
Oh, I see. Elizabeth, here's Dr. Harrington to see you.
I thought Dr. Cropper was...
Oh, yes, Dr. Cropper's here too, but he's gone along to see your granny.
I'm taking his place.
Oh. How do you do? I do feel an awful fraud.
It's her chest, Doctor. It's been her weakness since she was a child. When she was only...
Shut up, Nan. You don't know what you're talking about.
Elizabeth, you've no right to speak to me like that. Me that had you from the mumps.
Perhaps if we could have a look at you.
It's quite unnecessary. I can tell you exactly what's wrong with me. I developed a coryza 2 days ago. Ignored it over Christmas. As a result, I had a mild pyrexia yesterday, together with congestion of the bronchi and irritation of the sinuses. With the passing of the coryza, the signs and symptoms have diminished.
thank you for your self-diagnosis. I'm most impressed by your medical terminology. But perhaps it would be as well if I had a look for myself. That's what I'm here for, you know.
She had a temperature of 100 last night, Doctor, and her Still high?
Slightly below normal, which is only to be expected. Now, Miss Bourne, if you'd sit up in bed, please, and Miss Benson, perhaps you'd pull up the nightdress.
Oh, yes. Excuse me. Can't think why you couldn't wear your pyjamas. Make things much easier.
It's Christmas. That happens to be a Christmas present.
Don't talk, please. And let's see about this chest of yours. Take a deep breath. Again. And again. Thank you. Now sit back, please. Now let's see about this throat. Open wide.
I gather Elizabeth is better and getting up tomorrow.
That new doctor says she may.
The young one.
Dr. Harrington, that's right. I must say I'd rather have Dr. Cropper's word on it.
You worry too much, Nanny.
Well, I've had cause to.
Some of these photographs of Arthur and me are really comic. I don't remember this one. What is it?
It tells you on the back. Oh,
so it does.
Lady Bourne gave me that one just before Christmas. She found it in her flat.
Arthur and Phyllis, Christmas 1904.
Oh, dear.
Dressed for the children's fancy dress party at Roxbrook Park.
You remember the little princes were staying at Roxburgh for that party. Oh, they looked so sweet as the little princes in the tower.
Those were the days. What on earth were we supposed to be?
The Admiral of the Fleet and his lady, I think.
Very suitable. Was I really such an enormously plump child?
You'd never think it to look at you now. Oh, you know, I worry about you, Phyllis. Living alone in that wee flat. Are you sure you get enough to eat? All these cocktail parties and dancing till all hours.
I assure you, Nanny, I'm far too busy arranging concerts for my clever pupils to bother much about dances and cocktails. I leave that to the smart set, as the papers call them.
Dreadful lot.
Oh, childish more than dreadful. Yet I bet if there was another war, they'd all rally round.
You know, I always say to myself that if it hadn't been for that last one, you'd have been married by now to some nice young man, and I'd have been looking after your babies.
Don't worry, Nanny. A spinster's lot is quite a happy one nowadays. Happier than some of my friends who did get married. Most of them are divorced by now.
I just don't know what the world's coming to.
Are you awake?
Just.
Can I draw your curtains? You look better this morning.
I feel it.
Pity. Means that scrumptious new doctor won't be coming here anymore.
What do you want?
Can I borrow lipstick?
Well, I don't know
Oh,
if...
go on. I'm going to buy myself one, whatever Mummy says.
All right. Middle drawer of the dressing table. Don't overdo it, and mind you bring it back.
I will. Thanks.
Careful, Vicky. Watch where you're going, you silly
Sorry,
girl.
Nanny.
I brought you some tea and toast.
Oh, you are spoiling me, Nanny, aren't
Well,
you?
that's as may be. Now, you take your own temperature, and if it's still normal, you can get up after breakfast.
Oh, if you say so.
Yes, I do say so. Better safe than sorry. And mind you wrap up warm when you get up, for it's cold this morning.
Nanny! Nanny! I can't find my blue jersey.
All right, Anne, all right, I'm coming. Why can she not look for things herself? That girl will be losing her own head next. Now, let's have a look and see about this temperature. Mercy me, it's over 102. Oh, for any sake. See, now, you lie down there and, for any sake, child, and
pull up the bedclothes. That's right. Now, don't you move.
Oh, I won't, Nanny. I'll just lie here and wait till the doctor comes. That must be the doctor. Vicky, would you ask him to come straight up? No need to bother Nanny.
All right. Are you getting up? Only Nanny says you're much worse. I must say, you don't look very ill.
Do come in, Dr. Harrington.
Good morning.
Hello, Dr. Cropper.
Now, what's all this about a temperature soaring up? Annie seemed pretty fussed on the telephone.
Nanny does fuss a bit. She's getting old. I think she misread the thermometer.
Possibly.
I've just taken it again, and it's dead on normal.
The point below. Well, you don't look feverish. Let's see your tongue. Well, that looks healthy enough. Yeah. Yeah. And I gather Dr. Harrington gave your chest a clean bill of health yesterday?
Yes, he did. I do feel an awful fraud, dragging you out here for nothing.
It wasn't for nothing. I had to come to Winchley anyway. Young Mrs. Botley had her baby in the small hours. It wasn't a particularly easy birth. And I promised Dr. Harrington that I'd come in and have a look at her. How'd you get on with him, by the way?
Quite well. He bossed me around a bit.
Yes, I gather that you told him his business, and he retaliated. But he's a good doctor, and a modern one, which is what's wanted in a modern world.
Oh, absolutely.
He was very impressed about your MB. Liz, what has been settled about your future?
Nothing yet. Well, the family think it's just a craze. Of course, it would cost an awful lot of money to send me off to walk the wards and qualify, well, after 3 years at Oxford.
True, but I think it'd be a good investment.
Anyway, I've said I'll wait for a year. In the meantime, perhaps you could find me something sort of medical to do. Work in a clinic or something.
Yeah, I'll see. Meanwhile, try and be patient with your parents. Well, you know, it must be something of a shock when a good-looking daughter decides she wants to study medicine instead of getting married.
They have another much better-looking daughter who is likely to do precisely that.
Anne, eh? Yes, she's a handsome girl. She was getting a lot of admiring looks at the Boxing Day meet. And young Vicky bids fair to be a concert pianist, they tell me.
Oh, she's young. She may change her mind.
I dare say. Well, I can't sit here chatting all day. I must be about my business. I think you'll live to see another day, my dear.
Well, would you be kind and tell Nanny? Say I'm getting up. And do tell her to stop fussing about my chest.
Yes, I will.
We shall miss you when you go.
I haven't gone yet, my dear. The more I think about retirement, the less attractive it seems. Goodbye, young lady.
By the way, where did you meet Dr. Harrington?
Oh, I didn't meet him. He answered an advertisement in the BMJ, together with a good many others. Why did you ask?
I just wondered.
Do I look all right, Granny? I'm being taken to the cinema.
You look very nice, darling. What film are you going to see?
It happened one night. If only this coat weren't so babyish.
Now you must come and stay with me in London, and we'll go shopping together before you go off to Germany. You get your father to give you a cheque, and we'll go to Woollands.
That'll be fun.
I've got the car around. You ready, Vic?
Oh, are you driving her to the cinema?
I am.
Ah.
Come on, you mustn't keep your beau waiting in the cold.
Oh, is it anybody we know?
Robin Downs. He's
Downs?
really nice.
Oh, Downs.
Not one of yours, Grandpa. He's at Radley.
Radley? Ah, well, fine school, fine school.
Come on, I must get to the hospital library before it shuts. If I've got to dump you at the timber, it takes me weeks to get round.
Oh, so sorry.
Oh, sorry.
Hello, Dr. Harrington. Don't you recognize me?
I do, Miss Bourne. You look very different and much better.
I am. Of course, I only had a mild coryza. Sorry.
What are you after in here?
I wanted to read the chapters on epidemiology. I'm just going.
So am I, to look for a cup of tea. I'm off duty this afternoon.
Oh, I see.
Is there anywhere, I don't know Holbury very well yet.
There's the Copper Kettle in North Street. I could walk along and show you where it is if you like.
Would you?
Of course.
Thank you. Bye. Have you got everything you want?
Oh, yes, thank you. I haven't apologized yet, have I?
What on earth for?
You must have thought me rather a show-off the other day, and bossy.
I imagine you're a bit bossy by nature. A lot of clever people are.
Thank you. My sisters call me the governess. I'm the eldest, you see.
No brothers?
No. A shame, really, for my father. Anne's the nearest thing to it. She excels at everything that he minds about. Riding and fishing, even shooting.
And you don't?
Well, I used to, but not now. Not since Oxford.
Somerville?
LMH, were you up?
Not Oxford.
Oh, London, I suppose. Which hospital?
I'm strictly provincial, Birmingham General. I rather regret that I never went to Oxford or Cambridge first.
I wouldn't have missed it for anything. Of course, the family didn't really approve, especially when I switched to medicine. Well, it was good of them to fork out for me. How do you like Horbury?
Very much. I grew up in a Midland industrial town, so, I mean, this seems like another world. But whether it's going to test me enough professionally is another matter.
Have you ever thought of specializing?
I was tempted. ENT, but the circumstances didn't permit.
When Dr. Cropper retires, will you take over his house?
Well, it depends. At the moment, I'm living in digs.
Nice?
Bearable.
A bit lonely, I should think.
Oh, a doctor has no time to be lonely, as you'll find out one day.
Me?
Well, I presume that you're going to go on to a teaching hospital now and qualify, aren't you? The old boy said you got a very good degree.
I want to, of course. But it's utterly against anything my family had planned for me.
But what about your ambitions? I mean, you can't take your first MB and then drop it all.
I could, but I hope I won't have to. We've made a compromise. I wait for a year to see if what they call my mania has abated. Well, it won't have, of course. And then I think my father will agree to me going to Baths or Guy's or somewhere.
It's unfortunate to have a year's gap. I mean, I only hope you won't forget all you've learned.
I've no intention of doing so. I'm going to do some sort of practical work here. Well, Croppy said he'd help. And I'm studying occupational diseases. I thought I might do a thesis.
Good idea. It's a field of medicine that hasn't been explored enough. You should read Hope, Hannah and Stadibras on the subject.
I want to, but it isn't in the library. I must order it. More hot water?
I could lend you my copy. I'll be out your way the day after tomorrow. I could drop it in then.
That would be marvellous.
Mummy, it's me. Liz hasn't arrived yet. You don't think she's forgotten, do you?
How late is she?
About half an hour. She said she'd be here at 6. And Robin's got to get home.
Well, look, darling, wait another 15 minutes, and if she's not there, ring me back again and I'll order a car for you.
Excuse me, but we close at 6:30.
Goodness, I'm supposed to be fetching Vicky.
I had no idea.
I must fly. It's been marvellous meeting you.
I won't forget that book.
Oh, well, when you do, come in and have a glass of sherry. I'm sure the rest of the family would love to meet you.
Would they?
I beg your pardon?
Oh, nothing. How much is it?
2 and 3pence, please.
It's too bad of Elizabeth.
Oh, she probably had trouble starting the motor. Arthur was muttering something about new plugs.
Well, I heard a car a few minutes ago.
Oh, well, that'll be then. They must have gone straight to the garage. We could go and get changed, Alice.
Very well, dear.
Tell Vicky to come straight up, will you, Father?
Yes, all right. All right. Oh.
Arthur's late.
He's not out.
Where is he, then?
In his study. With Dr. Cropper, something to do with the new cottage hospital. Oh. Nice.
Hello, Grandpa.
Well, hello, my child. Well, do you enjoy your cinema?
Oh, you bet.
Now, your mother's just gone up to dress and she wants you to go up to see her straight away.
All right.
Well, Liz.
Hello, Grandpa.
Liz, there's a clue here you might be able to help me with. Occupational hazard for workers in hiding. And it's 7 letters. There are 3 blanks, H, 2 blanks, X.
What about anthrax?
Well done, you clever girl. Oh, dear. I suppose I'll have to go up and change.
Me too, in a minute. Grandpa, do you believe in love at first sight?
Oh, ho, ho. The persistent Oliver Horner, no doubt?
No, it isn't anyone special. Just the principle. Can it happen?
Yes, of course it can. Happened to me at a garden party at New College in '86. I saw your grandmother talking to the warden. She was wearing a yellow dress. I knew at once she was the only girl for me. We were married 2 years later, and were happy together for 30 years. You remind me of her sometimes, my dear Liz. And I don't know why.
Thank you, Grandpa.
Hey, glass of sherry before you go. Warm the cockle.
Thank you. Hello, Doctor.
Hello.
Charles?
Thank you, yes. Although I can't pretend my cockles need warming.
The good doctor is wondering what to do when he retires to Wales next spring.
Well, my recipe is a small house, comfortable, with a housekeeper who can cook. I suppose you'll be selling your house in Holbury.
Yes, with the practice. Young Harrington will need it when his wife comes from Wolverhampton in a month or 2. Excellent sherry, Arthur.
Oh, not too dry for you?
No. I used to be a brown sherry man, but one must move with the times.
I acquired the taste for Fino when I was stationed in Gibraltar.
And I acquired it in my house at Eton. The boys preferred it.
Come in.
Why aren't you changed? It's 5 to 8.
I'm not coming down. Say I've gone back to bed.
Are you ill again?
Shut the door. I want to talk to you. I must talk to someone.
Levins is. Are you ready for it?
Oh, thanks, darling. Are you having something?
Not for me, darling. Do you want me?
Yes, I do. Don't sit down.
You're worried, aren't you?
Oh, do I look it?
Yes, you do. It's money, isn't it?
Oh, as usual, yeah. Oh, bills pouring thicker than faster than ever at this time of year. Oh, there's Christmas shopping accounts to settle, club subscriptions to pay, Vicky's fees in Germany. Oh, I just had this most unfriendly letter from Graves at the bank. Can't see his way to increasing my overdraft. Well, if he can't see his way, why the hell doesn't he get himself a torch, the damn fool? Oh, I'm sorry.
Is your overdraft very high?
That's high enough. I mean, we've got to find some money to repair that dairy before it falls down altogether. Oh, God knows where it's all coming from.
That's going to cost about £300, is that what you said?
Yes, it is, 300 at least.
I could help a little. I mean, out of my dress allowance.
No, Helen. No, you're not paying for anything like that out of your own money. Now, the day you had to do that, that's shot gun to the head.
Oh, Arthur, don't talk like that. For heaven's sake, let's change the subject. I want to know about this man who's coming to see you. What's his name?
Oh, good Lord, yes, Jackie White.
Yes, now, will he be staying to lunch?
Ah, I doubt it. Now, wait a minute. I've got his letter here somewhere. Yes, it is. Passing near you on my way to spend the new year in North Wales. Oh. Yeah, I might drop in on the 31st about 11:30. Discuss a proposal. Might be of interest to you. No, it doesn't say anything about lunch.
Well, we've got enough anyway. What proposal, I wonder?
No idea.
Do you know him well?
Oh, used to. Hardly ever see him now, except occasionally at the club, you know. Well, he was in naval intelligence during the war. Quite a scholarly sort of fellow. I think he's something to do with naval records, no?
Sounds as though he wants you to go into business with him.
Get me to put up some money for business, more likely. Well, you come to the wrong shop. Because I hardly see that I can finance somebody else's business, but I can't even finance my own.
If he does stay to lunch, would it matter if the girls were not in?
Oh, why should it? He's not coming to see them.
Oh, good. That's what I thought, because Anne wants to go into Hornbury this morning and take Vicky with her.
Oh, my dear, this is not another shopping expedition.
No. She just wants to get some sequins for this famous fancy dress costume she's wearing tonight. And there isn't a bus out again until 2.
All right, we'll let him go.
Good, I'll tell them. There's just one other thing.
Mm-hmm.
When are we going to ship your mother and my father back to whence they came?
Tomorrow. They're going on the 11:53 to Paddington, whether they like it or not.
Good. Do you think they want to stay up tonight and see the new year in?
Oh, bound to. They always do.
Otherwise, with only Vicky here, I thought we might just...
slip off early and miss it. Not likely. I do with my mother and your father. Oh, dear, we'll open up a bottle of champagne, I suppose.
I do wish the Addisons had asked Vicky to their fancy dress dance. She'll be all on her own tonight, just with us older ones.
We'll get her tight.
Arthur.
No, we will all get tight. See if we can't work up a spirit of optimism and revelry for the new year. Though with that bunch of bills, I hardly think it's an occasion for rejoicing.
I'm sorry, darling. I do try to economize. I really do. The girls haven't had any new clothes for months now, neither have I. But we are 5 mouths to feed.
Oh, Helen, it's not your fault. Now, I am the breadwinner, and I am supposed to provide for us, not you.
You do. We'll manage. Anne, are you upstairs?
Yes, Mummy?
It's all right to go into Horbury. Daddy says you don't need to be on tap when this man comes.
Oh, good. Can Vicky come in with me?
Yes, of course she can. And while you're at it, would you get some chops from Bellings for Mrs. Gates? They are on order. And get me some toothpaste from the chemist, would you? My usual. Here's some money.
Right you are. It's okay, Vic. We can catch the 10 to 12 bus if we're quick. I'm ready.
Oh, dear, that'll be Daddy's visitor.
Oh, Lord. Oh, can we slip out by the back door, Mummy? Otherwise we'll have to say how do you do and miss our bus.
Oh, yes, Mummy, please.
All
Need we say
right.
how do you do?
Off you go quickly. See you back later for tea. Ah, Commander White, isn't it?
That's right, Mrs. Bourne.
Yes, do come in.
Thank you.
My husband is expecting you.
Ah, good.
Take your hat and coat.
Thank you.
He's in his study, this way.
Charming house.
Yes, we love it. Arthur, Commander White for you.
Oh, Jackie. Come in.
Good morning, Arthur.
This is a pleasant surprise.
Oh, it's very good of you to see me, old chap. But I was passing by. I'm going on to my sister in Wales, so it seemed a good chance to drop in and talk to you.
Yes, of course. Well, do sit down.
Thank you.
Well, now, what are you going to have? It's Scotch, isn't it?
Please. And drop a splash.
Mm-hmm. Do you know, I was just thinking, apart from the occasional sort of glimpse at the club, I don't think we've really met since that, since that investiture, just after the war, when you got your MBE.
And you got your DSO.
Yeah. Yes, of course. We went over to the Carlton afterwards and celebrated with a bottle of champagne.
I remember that morning very well. Cheers.
Cheers.
Oddly enough, it's about your extremely well-deserved DSO that I've come to see you. Well, in a way.
Oh, yes, your proposal. Yes, what you wanted to discuss.
Yes. Let me explain. I've become something of a naval historian.
Yes, I know. Yes, read your articles in the Sphere on the old submariner service. Damn good.
Thank you. I'm glad you approve. Well, now, you see, I got this contract with a fairly big newspaper group to do a syndicated series of famous naval exploits in the war. The accent to be on daring and courage. Little ships up against big guns. Exciting adventures. You know the sort of stuff they like in the Sunday newspapers.
Yes, indeed I do.
Yes. Well, Arthur, without beating about the bush, and I thought I'd prefer to ask you in person rather than write, I want to include in this series your last destroyer action in the North Sea, that scrap you had with 2 German cruisers. Damaged them, did you not, and then got away badly holed yourself to Scarborough or somewhere?
Yeah, well, you mean the action we did in Mansard?
That's the one, in the spring of 1916.
Yeah, now, what exactly did you want to do about that?
I want you to agree to write up the action in detail from your records and let me have it for my newspaper series. Or allow me access to the relevant papers and let me ghost it for you.
Ghost it? What do you mean by that?
Write it myself as coming from your pen. You'd sign it, of course. It could earn you £300 or £400, Arthur. Half of it in advance before we start. And the rest of it on acceptance by the editor of the paper. Are you interested?
Interested?
Well, that's the proposition I came here to put you. I just don't know how you feel about it. Well, I hoped you might agree to take it on for both our sakes.
I see. Look, would you...
No, I'm all right.
Oh, no, I don't know.
Look, if you don't want to be bothered with writing it yourself, don't hesitate to say so, because I'd be only too delighted to put it down on paper for you.
No, Jackie, that's not the point. No, I think I could write an account of the action myself, with a little difficulty. I'm not completely illiterate,
Oh.
In fact, I think I've got most of it in my wartime diary.
Uh-huh.
No, what I could not do, and would not agree to do, I'm afraid, is to, blow my own trumpet, Show off in the newspapers about something I was mixed up in during the war. It's too long ago. Any number of chaps did far braver things than just command a ship in battle. It wasn't that much of an action, Not really.
Don't be so modest, Arthur. Oh, you know jolly well it was the finest action by a destroyer in the whole damn war at sea. The First Lord said so. Jellicoe said so. And the King gave you a DSO for your trouble. Now, don't tell me that it was just some trivial exploit, because it wasn't. And you know it wasn't.
Jackie, I don't like the idea of self-advertisement. It doesn't become officers of the senior service to write articles about their own deeds. Well, you know the tradition as well as I do, but apart from the fact that it's not done, I don't want a lot of publicity for just doing my job. No, I refuse to cash in on the courage and guts of my ship's company.
Ah, I see. Well, if you feel like that, I suppose you could share the fee with some of them, or I don't know. Give it to some naval charity. How about that?
No, Jackie, I'm sorry. No, I'm very grateful for the suggestion. It's a very tempting offer. No. Now, I wish you a lot of luck with the series. I'm sure it'll be excellently written, you know, historically, tactically, and in terms of the people concerned. But, no, I couldn't agree to take part. No, it's not a question of the money, you know. Not entirely. Though God knows I need money at the moment badly. Well, don't we all?
Oh.
You know, overdrawn at the bank. I got $3 to educate. I got this place to keep up. I mean, God knows what other commitments. But, no, I will not blow my trumpet or allow anyone else to blow it for me, particularly in a Sunday newspaper. And I am not prepared to make money out of an action in which two of my dearest friends and a dozen of a damn good crew were killed. I couldn't do it. If I did, I'd feel cheap and dirty, and I would never hold up my head again. That's damn silly, isn't it? I'm awfully sorry to feel like this. No, that must be the final decision.
I see. I have to admire you, Arthur. Anyone would. I don't entirely go along with your arguments, but I suppose I must respect your integrity. It's disappointing, but I do understand.
Well, it's very kind of you, old chap. I'm very glad you see my point of view.
Yeah.
Very glad indeed.
Well, there's nothing really further to discuss, is there? So I better be on my way.
Well, look, do stay and have some lunch. I mean, I'm sure Helen would be delighted.
No, I won't stay, thank you. If I'm to get to my sister's before dark, I ought to leave now. It's quite a way.
Well, I'll show you the way.
Thank you.
Helen, Commander White is just going. I did ask him to stay to lunch, but he'd rather get on, you know, before the light goes.
Oh, I see. What a shame. Well...
Goodbye, Mrs. Bourne.
Goodbye.
It was nice seeing Arthur again after all these years. I always admired your husband, Mrs. Bourne. I still do.
Yes, Well, goodbye.
Goodbye.
You must drop in again if you're passing.
Yes. Thank you. Happy New Year to all of you.
Well, the same to you.
Bye, Arthur.
Goodbye.
Well, that was short and sweet.
Yes.
Aren't you going to tell me what your friend wanted?
Hmm?
Well, what was this proposal? Do tell me.
Much point. No, he suggested something which I just couldn't go along with, so we didn't discuss it any further.
No, what was it?
Nothing, dear. I did say it. No, nothing.
It must have been something. Don't you think you could just face me for one moment and tell me what that man wanted? I suppose it's none of my business, darling, but I do like to share some of your life with you.
Yes. Yes, I suppose so. Well, if you must know, he wanted me to write an account of that action I fought in Mansard in '16 for the Sunday newspapers. And he offered me £300 or £400 to do it.
Arthur, that's wonderful. Why look so sad about it?
Because I refused him, Helen. And very naturally I had to.
You? Arthur, why?
And I'm not going into it all over again. I gave him my reasons.
What reasons could you possibly have for turning down an offer like that?
No, there are plenty. I told him, and quite plainly, that I will not take money from a newspaper to glorify myself in print. Nor will I profit by an experience in which two of my best friends lost their lives. And that's that.
But Arthur, that's absurd. Masses of other people have done it. Ever since the armistice in 1918, the papers have been full of people's war exploits. Generals, airmen, submarine people. Well, think of all the books that have been written and the masses of biographies and articles. Oh, besides, think how proud and thrilled the girls would have been to have seen their father's name in the paper, so their friends could read all about his brave exploits. Don't you think you could
No, Helen, I don't. I've turned down the offer and I don't want to discuss it any further.
Not discuss it any further when you've just turned down £400, which heaven knows we need. You said so yourself.
Yes, of course we need the money. For sakes, I know that. But great heavens, do you think I'd likely throw away the chance of enough money to repair the dairy? Pay some of those damn bills?
Well, I think it was very foolish of you. I simply don't understand.
No, a woman wouldn't.
I don't quite see what that's got to do with it.
Can't you? Well, if you can't, then I'd just suggest that we drop the matter, because there's nothing more to be said. You know, the man is gone. I turned down the offer for my own personal reasons, and there's an end of it. Now, I'm going out to the woodshed to saw some logs for the fire, because we seem to be short of fuel, as we are of damn near everything else in this house.
Mine. Boom! Got you.
Oh, no, it hasn't, Grandpa.
What's yours?
Sapper. Sapper.
Oh, damnation take it.
Charles, please.
Well, I mean, this wretched little girl has captured my last mine. Well, she took my commander-in-chief in the first 5 minutes just because I was a bit careless. And then her spy...
No, mon espion.
Oh, well, her espion moved so freely and daringly about the board, I thought it must be a corporal or a sergeant.
That was bluff.
Oh, dearie me. All right, it's your movie. Come on.
Attack.
Sergeant.
Captain.
Oh, no.
Attack.
Captain.
Major.
Oh,
Attack.
no. Well, are you sure?
Yes, quite sure.
It's my flag.
I thought so. There, I've won. A glorious victory for the French over the English.
I'd say rather a glorious victory for youth over senility. I'm just too old to keep pace with you.
Shall we have another? Give you a chance to get your revenge.
Well, do you think we've got time?
I understood from Helen that we're not dining till 8:30 tonight.
Ah, well, then we have got time. All right, let's set them out again. See if I can do better. Ashley must do better.
I'm sorry to neglect you, Alice. Only as usual, Mrs. Gates made a terrible mess of the sauce. Are you all right?
Of course we're all right. We're quite capable of entertaining ourselves.
I helped myself to a whiskey and soda. I hope that wasn't very naughty of me.
Not at all. Arthur's getting out some champagne for us for later.
Ah, welcome in the new year.
That's right. He's putting it on ice in the pantry. Ah, here he is.
Ah, I believe our party's a little depleted.
Yes, I'm afraid so. Elizabeth up in London for the revels, and off to a fancy dress party.
There's only me left, and the grown-ups, of course.
Never mind, we'll have our revels on our own, will we not, mon général?
Oui, mon capitaine.
Oh, yeah, you're just off?
Yes, Daddy, in a minute. Someone called Andrew Shell's fetching me in his car. Supposed to be coming at 8. What's the time?
Oh, it's just gone 5:02.
Oh, well, I'm ready for once.
Are you going to show us your famous costume?
Oh, I should hope so, after all that secrecy and whispering the last few weeks.
I really haven't got time, Mummy. Andrew should be here at any moment.
Oh, and you must show us. I say, it doesn't look like a Queen Elizabeth or Nell Gwyn, or she'd have a huge skirt showing, wouldn't she?
What have you got on your face?
Just some makeup.
Oh, now, come on, take your coat off and let's see what you're wearing. Come on.
Well, actually, I'd rather like to keep my coat on if you don't mind. I am rather cold.
Well, if you're cold, child, come over here and stand by the fire.
I really should go and wait by the front door just in case Andrew comes.
You'll hear the car when your young man comes for you.
Yes, of course you will.
Come on, Anne, don't be mean. It can't be a secret now.
Could I have a glass of sherry, Daddy, just to warm me up?
Oh, yes, I suppose so. What's the matter? Are you embarrassed or something? Need a bit of Dutch courage, eh? Well, don't be shy. I'm sure you'll look absolutely splendid.
I believe you're dressed as a boy underneath. Or a tennis player, are you?
No, nothing like that. I'm sure I had a cold.
No, it wasn't, darling. Now, come on, for heaven's sake, show us your dress. You really are being awfully coy.
Must I?
Yes, of course you must.
Oh, come along now. We're not going to eat you. Now, on stage, Sarah Bernhardt. There you are. That's it. There's a good girl. Now, come on, take off your coat. Give us all a treat. Huh?
All right. Here goes.
And for heaven's sake.
Good Lord, look at that.
Well,
do you like it?
Oh my goodness, Anne, honestly.
And you're not going like that.
Well, of course I am. I'm a slave of the Arabian Nights. Don't I look like one?
Put your coat on, Anne.
What?
I said put your coat on. Then you go upstairs straight away and you take off that dreadful get-up.
What?
You heard what I said.
Why, Daddy?
You do as I said!
Oh, Arthur, come on now.
If you're worried about my tummy, you can see girls with bare tummies on the films any day, even in Holbury.
It's not funny, Vicky. And this is not the pictures. And if anyone thinks that a daughter of mine is going to someone else's house to a party half naked, then they can think again. Now you go upstairs straight away and change your clothes.
Oh, must I, Mummy? I spent weeks making it.
That's not the point, darling. Now do as Daddy says. Go on, don't argue.
No, why should I? He's just being stuffy and old-fashioned and very unfair.
Go upstairs at once.
I refuse.
You what?
And no.
Mummy, why can't you back me up? You don't think I look indecent, do you? After all, it's no worse than what people wear at the Chelsea Arts Ball, where Liz will be tonight.
And this is not the Chelsea Arts Ball. You are going to the house of someone we know. Now, do you understand?
But I've got nothing else to wear.
Couldn't Nanny stitch a bit more to cover your middle, so that it's not quite so, well, you know?
No, that would spoil the effect completely.
Dear child, what do you think the Addisons would say?
I don't care what they'd say.
Then it's high time you did. Now, Anne, I'm not going to go on arguing with you any longer. Now, either you go upstairs and you change into something else, or you telephone the Addisons and tell them you're not coming because you've got a cold. You're certainly not going over to Roxburgh tonight, dressed like a cheap whore in a Hong Kong waterside brothel. Look at your face.
Go on, darling, do as Daddy says.
No!
You go upstairs and change.
There. That's a sensible girl.
Oh, listen, there's Andrew. I'll have to go.
Now, go outside to the car and ask him in for a drink while you change. Tell him you're not quite ready.
It's bad manners to keep a person waiting. Besides, there isn't time now.
I warn you, Anne. I'm not going to be disobeyed.
Don't you think she ought to be allowed to make up her own mind?
No, Mother, I don't.
I'm 18 now and I'm supposed to be out, and I'm not going to be told what I should or should not wear at a fancy dress party.
And you're not to go, Anne.
I am. I don't care whether Daddy approves or not. Oh, please, don't.
Anne, you come back here.
Well, I think it's time we all went up to change. Come along, Alice. And you too, Father. Put away that game, would you, Vicky?
All right, Mummy.
Do I look all right, Nan?
Let me see. Oh, you'll do. Brushed your teeth? See your nails not bitten right down again, I hope.
No, they're not. I've given up biting my nails. I chew gum instead, when I'm nervous. Oh dear, I'll be nervous going down to dinner this evening. There'll be an awful atmosphere.
I'm not surprised.
Poor old Anne. She's for it, all right.
It serves her right. She ought to know better than disobey her father like that. She's far too headstrong these days.
I'm afraid she'll be punished terribly. Daddy was so furious with her.
I can't understand why they didn't stop her going by force. If your Aunt Phyllis had behaved like that on your grandfather Bournes Day, she'd have been locked in a room without any supper until she said she was sorry.
Well, Anne ran out of the house before anyone could stop her. She'll be there by now, at the party. I wonder if everyone's being horribly shocked.
From what I've heard about her costume, I should think they would be. If I'd known for one moment what she was up to, I would never have let her use my sewing machine.
I must say she did look rather extraordinary. All that rouge and stuff on her face.
Disgusting. It's as well for her I didn't see her.
What do you think Daddy will do to Anne?
Well, I know what he ought to do. Put her over his knee and give her a right good spanking. That would take her down a peg. And remind her that she's still his daughter. Not some independent young city miss, all airs and graces.
It's not like that, Nanny. She may be a bit naughty and want her own way sometimes, but she's not full of airs and graces, not at all. She's my favourite sister, and I love her very much, and I don't want her to get punished.
Now, don't let's have tears and smudge your face just when you're going down to dinner. That would never do.
No, it wouldn't, would it? Sorry, Nanny.
No. Here's a clean hanky. Blow your nose. Pull yourself together. And seeing you're the only one at home this evening, you must make up for Anne and Liz and behave nicely downstairs. Show Granny and Grandpa what a well-brought-up young lady you are. Be a credit to Nanny, eh?
I will, Nanny.
Yes. My girl.
Ah, where is Arthur?
Oh, in his study. He'll join us when dinner's ready.
What's he doing in there?
He's just busy with some papers.
No, he isn't. He's brooding. He's still angry with young Anne over her behaviour. That's it, isn't it?
He's very cross and very hurt. Stupid girl, spoiling everybody's New Year's Eve like that, so unnecessary.
I must say, I think Arthur's making rather a fuss about nothing very serious.
Is that really your opinion, Alice?
Yes, it is. The child happens to possess a charming little figure, and she's young enough not to appear at all outrageous with very little on. I think she looked quite charming.
Yes, indeed, but I bet your father wouldn't have allowed you to go to a ball half naked.
We wore much less on our shoulders, my dear. And lots of our dresses were quite décolleté.
Yes, that's all very well. But you didn't allow us young fellows to see your tummies, did you?
I should hope not.
Well, there you are.
Dinner won't be long, Arthur. I've asked Nanny to come down just before midnight to see the new year in with us. Is that all right?
Yes, of course, dear.
Give the old girl some champagne, what? Buck her up? Buck us all up if it comes to that.
Yes, that's right.
Ah, here's young Vicky, victorious Victoria, the finest French commander-in-chief since Marshal Foch. Oh, we never had that return game of l'attaque, did we?
No, it sort of got forgotten in all the excitement.
Yes, well, I suppose there isn't time now before dinner?
No, Father, there isn't. We shall be going to the dining room in a moment.
All right, I see.
If you'd just put another log on the fire, would you, Arthur?
Yes, of course.
Have you told Vicky the news?
What news?
There's a little treat in store for you, darling, if you're good.
Oh, what? Do tell.
Well, Aunt Phyllis telephoned this evening, just before I had my bath from London, to wish us all a happy new year and say how sorry she was she couldn't be with us all tonight.
Oh, I see.
And then she said she wondered if you might not find the holidays a little bit dull being here all the time until you go to Munich. And so she's invited you to stay with her in London and go to see some concerts and theatres. Would you like that?
Oh, yes, rather. That would be marvellous. Can I go, Daddy?
Yes, if you want to. You must have your fun too, I suppose. I mean, before you go abroad.
Oh, thanks. How kind of Aunt Phyllis.
Well, she'll pick you up off the train, take you round London and show it to you generally, and then put you back on the train to come back home again.
Just like a universal aunt.
Yes, if you like.
Universal Aunt. Well, that's quite a good name for Phyllis. I think I'll have to call her that from now on.
She won't like it, Arthur.
She'll have to put up with it, Mother.
Well, I admit it's not an entirely inappropriate name for her. though she does these things out of the goodness of her heart and not for money.
There. It's all ready. We can go in now.
Ah.
And when is the child going to London?
Yes, Mummy, when am I going? How soon?
I see no reason why you can't take the 11:53 tomorrow with Granny and Grandpa. We can pack after dinner. Phyllis can have you tomorrow.
Oh, gosh.
Yes, and you can pack the l'attack board too. We'll play on the train, pass the time nicely.
It's almost midnight, Nan. Aren't you coming down to the hall?
It's still 5 minutes to 12. They've just told us on the wireless.
I know that's coming from the Chelsea Arts Ball at the Albert Hall.
So I gather.
Isn't it funny to think Liz and Oliver Horner are actually there and all that crowd? I wonder what they've gone as.
It all sounds rather rough and noisy to me.
Oh, I'd love to be there. Listen.
What, dear?
I thought I heard Liz laughing. It sounded just like her.
Maybe it was, dear. Well, come on. We better get down now, or else we're missing it all.
I wonder if Liz will still be with Aunt Phyllis. If so, I'll see her tomorrow if she is.
I thought she was going on to stay with her friend in Wales.
Oh, yes, I suppose she will. I don't think Aunt Phyllis has more than room for one of us at a time.
Oh, there we are. That's for Mother. Oh, Charles, you have one, I know.
Yes, please, don't leave me out. Come.
Ah, there's Nanny.
Ah, come along, Nanny. There's a glass of champagne for you.
I thought I heard Liz laughing just now on Nanny's wireless.
Vicky, how could you?
Might have been. She is there.
Now, are you allowed champagne?
Oh, I think she might have half a glass to see the new year in.
Could she? I see. Oh, very well. Now, you drink that soda, make it last.
I will.
But you don't swallow Verve Cliquot 28 at one gulp.
Verve what?
Never mind, darling. Just drink it slowly.
Why?
Because it's very expensive, John.
And wasted on little girls used to lemon squash.
Oh, Grandpa. Gosh, it's lovely, isn't it? It's rather busy, though.
That sounds like a Roman orgy going on.
Oh, well, it is in a way. I went once, you know. You should see some of the costumes people wear at that thing.
I bet some of them are naughtier than what Anne was.
Vicky.
Sorry.
Ah.
There. That's Big Ben. It's midnight. It's the new year.
Happy New Year to everyone. Nanny.
Happy New Year. Happy New Year. Happy New Year.
Well, my dear daughter.
Ah, come along, Nanny. You have some more champagne.
Oh, well, just a wee drop.
Happy New Year.
There we are.
Thank you.
Oh.
Ah, there we are, Charles.
Oh, thank you.
And a Happy New Year to you.
And to you, thank you.
Happy New Year, darling. Many more.
You too, Helen.
Well.
Happy New Year, Mother.
Thank you, dear. Same to you.
Happy New Year. Nanny? Happy New Year, sir. Happy New Year to you. Thank you.
Don't be too hard on Anne, darling. She is our child and she's only 18.
Happy New Year, Mummy.
Happy New Year, darling.
Happy New Year, Granny.
Sweetie.
Well, Alice, a very happy New Year to you. Do I get a kiss? After all, we are related by marriage.
That's no excuse. Still, at your age, I think I can trust you not to take advantage.
There.
Thank you, Charles. Helen, dear, come and give your old mother-in-law a kiss. You may not have many more chances.
Liz, please don't say that.
When I'm dead and gone, and Charles too, and the girls are all married with families of their own, you and Arthur will have to spend New Year's Eve in each other's company for many a long year.
Must you be so morbid, darling, when we're all trying to celebrate? What are you trying to say?
Just remember that a day will come when you and Arthur have to fall back on each other, without the shelter of a large family circle. You'll need your love and respect for each other dreadfully badly when that day comes.
I know we shall. But then I won't be fighting endless battles for the girls and having to oppose him, will I?
Now, Helen, don't listen to that woman. You take your father's advice and miss out on New Year's Eve when you and Arthur are alone together, like I did for a bit after your mother died. Go to bed at 10:30 with a good book and avoid all this old lang syne and champagne stuff. It's far too sad. Well, why aren't we all singing? Now, come along. Nanny, you can sing. You take that for me, Vicky. Come on, you join hands. For the sake of old lang syne.
Roseanne.
Old lang syne, my dear. For old lang syne. We'll take a cup of kindness, yeah, for the sake of old lang syne. For old lang syne, my dear. For old lang syne. We'll take a cup of kindness, yeah, for the sake of old lang syne.
Can I come in? Was it fun? Oh, you're asleep. Sorry.
What's the time?
9:15. Breakfast is ready. I only came in on my way down to tell you some wonderful news.
What news?
I'm going up to London today in the train with Granny and Grandpa for a whole week to stay with Aunt Phyllis and go to some plays and concerts and get some clothes for Munich.
What fun.
Mummy told me last night after you'd gone to the Addisons. Apparently the universal aunt rang up. Well, that's what Daddy calls
darling,
Aunt...
I love you dearly, but do you think we could talk later? I am not really awake yet.
Sorry. Did he say anything?
Not a word.
Are you going to say you're sorry?
No,
Why not?
because I'm not sorry.
Oh, aren't you?
No.
Well, are you going to have any breakfast? Because Mrs. Gates wants to clear.
Not hungry.
Have you got a frightful hangover? I had heaps of champagne last night. I felt quite funny when I went to bed. Couldn't stop laughing. Everything Nanny said was so funny. Oh, well, I must go and ask Gates to feed my bantams while I'm away.
Yes, I should.
Well, I'm blessed. They've knighted that old fool Spencer at Balliol.
Have they?
It's in the New Year's honours list. Dreadful old man, totally undeserved. Oh, well, get on with the crossword. First one of the new year. Ah, good morning, Helen. And a very happy new year once more, my dear.
And the same to you, Father.
What are you doing?
Looking for some luggage labels. Alice will need them for her small trunk. She'll have to go in the van.
Well, what time ought we to leave?
About 11 to be safe. Arthur's going to take you in.
Well, I expect I shan't finish this until the train. It looks a dashed difficult one this morning.
I think you ought to apologise to your father, don't you?
He had no right to say I looked like a cheap whore in a Shanghai brothel.
It was Hong Kong.
You had no right to disobey him, Anne.
I was angry.
Don't you think he had a right to be angry, too? Your costume was very shocking, and well you know it. Daddy's got a lot of worries at the moment about money and things. I just think you ought to go in there and say you're sorry. It costs nothing, and I know you'll feel better for it.
No, Mummy. He ruined my evening all over something so stupid.
Very well, Anne, if that's the way you feel, I shan't say any more. You're old enough now to make up your own mind.
Exactly, I am.
If your father punishes you, don't come running to me, because I won't be able to help you.
you help me get this word? And it's 7 across. It's a 10-letter word and begins with a D. Would you like to try?
Yes.
Well, let's see if we can do it between us, shall we?
I'm not very good at crossword puzzles.
No? Oh, well, it's only a knack, you know. Now, the clue is holy pupil about a preposition makes for law and order.
Holy pupil about a preposition?
Well, about usually means one word wrapped round another word. You see, in this case, the long word for the holy pupil, that's a word like apostle or monk or nun or something, wrapped round the preposition. What is a preposition?
Oh, Grandpa, we're not in school now. Preposition? Well, in, at, on, over, under.
Yes, quite right, quite right. Now, the outside word, holy pupil. Now, who were our Lord's pupils? His,
Disciples?
Quite correct. So, it's disciples outside. You see, now, disciples, that's an 8-letter word, and the whole word is 10 letters. So, there's a small 2-letter preposition to put in. Now, on, at.
In. Disciple in. Discipline.
Makes for law and order. Absolutely right. You've got it. Clever girl.
Well, you did it, Grandpa, not me.
No, well, it doesn't matter who did it. Discipline. Yeah. You know, it's rather curious that the word discipline, which means teaching, has come to mean obedience to rules and regulations and the need for a structure of authority in schools, institutions, regiments, and even families.
Yes.
It's rather important, I always think, that people should learn to accept discipline, especially young people, and learn to respect their elders and those put in authority over them. You see, without obedience and a certain giving way to one's teachers and one's parents, even if one doesn't always agree with them, no community can survive for very long, especially, of course, regiments or classes of pupils or families. Oh, but then, of course, I am an old schoolmaster and naturally prejudiced and all the...
Is it all right to come in?
If you want to.
Sorry to disturb you if you're writing letters.
No, that's quite all right.
I hear Vicky's going up to London today with Granny.
Yes, she is.
Sorry.
Are you?
Yes.
Well, that's my girl. No more silly row, huh?
No. Oh, I did so want to wear my silly costume after all the work I put into it.
Look, it's all over now, hmm? All over and forgotten.
Yes, please.
I think you better go and see what the others are doing. Hmm?
Yes.
Oh, by the way, did you enjoy the dance?
No, I didn't. It was awful.
Oh.
None of the young men would dance with me. They just stood about in groups staring at me and whispering.
Yes, well, I'm not really surprised.
Mary Shale said she thought they were all too shy to dance with me, as it would have meant them having to put their hands on my bare flesh and being laughed at by their friends. So I never got a single dance, just sat out and talked to Mary. Next year I shall go as a nun.
Well, that's not a bad idea.
By the way, Daddy, I haven't wished you a Happy New Year yet. Is it too late?
It's never too late for good wishes, darling.
Happy New Year.
A Happy New Year to you.
Well, I I think I'll leave this for the train. I feel the need for a bit of fresh air. Would you care for a little stroll down the drive?
I'd love it.
Well, now, old Frank from the dairy is coming to see your father, I think, and then your father's going to drive us to the station, and I'm already packed, so I suggest we take a little gentle exercise together.
Yes, please.
Come
Thank
along,
you,
then.
Grandpa.
Now, I think you better put your coat on or something,
I've got my
because
coat
it's
right
probably
here.
a bit cold. Have you? I'll take my scarf and just hat it and my coat now. On you go, then.
Oh, there you are. I think I'd better drive them in, darling. It's 10:30 now. Frank hasn't arrived yet. He's bound to delay you when he comes. Besides, I want to get Vicky's ticket and make sure she's got everything.
Yeah, of course. It might be better if you did.
Did Anne come and see you? Well?
We made our peace. I don't think there's anything more to be said.
I'll go and hurry them up. Your luggage is all in the car. I'm taking you in because Arthur's got Frank coming to see him. I think we should go if you're ready.
I'm all for it, Helen. We haven't much time.
Alice, I believe you have suffered from train fever ever since I first knew you.
I have, and I always will. I detest rushing up the platform for a train. It's so undignified.
Vicky, take Granny's bag and put it in the car.
Thank you, darling. And don't let the porter put it in the van. It's got my needlework in it and my book for the journey.
I'm so sorry I can't drive you down, Mother.
Oh, dear, that's quite all right. Helen explained. Now, goodbye, dear.
Goodbye.
If you don't mind, I'll get into the motor now because I'm a little bit nervous about missing the train. And thank you so much for having us. I hope we haven't outstayed our welcome.
Oh, is it possible, Mother?
Goodbye, dear.
Splendid Christmas halls as usual, Arthur. I thank you kindly. I've eaten enough and drunk enough to last me until next year.
Goodbye, Daddy.
Goodbye, Vicky. Now, love to the Universal Aunt. Don't forget to write from London and enjoy yourself.
I will.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Bye.
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 Oh, Nanny. Well, they've just gone.
Yes, I know they have.
What have you got behind your back?
Oh, nothing very important.
Oh, come on, I can see. It's a hot water bottle, isn't it?
So it is. Fancy.
Why didn't Anne come downstairs to say goodbye?
Because she said goodbye to her grandpa and Lady Bourne upstairs.
Yes, I know, but she's not ill, is she?
No, just a wee bit tired and strained after last night. And Mrs. Bourne told her to pop back into bed again and have a wee bit more sleep until lunchtime. And I am taking her up a hot water bottle for her feet.
You spoil them, Nanny.
Maybe I do. And why not? Many's the time when you were her age did I tuck you up in bed with a hot water bottle, and with less reason.
You're quite right. She needs a little extra love today. You know, it takes guts, doesn't it, to apologize, admit you're wrong.
Maybe your second child is not as brainy as Liz, nor musical like Vicky, but she's got guts. She's a Bourne, all right.
Hello, Frank. Happy New Year to you.
And to you, sir.
Oh, go along here. That's a glorious day.
Yes, sir.
Were you going to have a beer or something, or were you celebrating last night?
It was up. We weren't celebrating, sir.
Is everything all right?
At the farm? Oh, yes, sir.
Okay. Perhaps you prefer to talk in the study. Oh, I'm sorry to keep you waiting for this chair. A bit hectic this time of year. Well, do sit down.
I didn't want to bother you, sir. Only the missus.
Far away, Frank?
It's our Alan.
Uh-huh.
There's a girl at the usherette at the Tivoli Picture House. He got her into trouble.
Oh, dear, oh, dear, oh, dear. Oh, come on, sit down.
Life's all cut up.
Now, you're Alan. I thought he was a pretty steady type.
Too steady, if you ask me, for his own good. 27, not wed.
Is this a regular girlfriend?
Well, I've been walking out a bit as far as going steady with any of them is. Afraid to let himself in for anything.
He seems to have done so now. Do you know her?
Peggy Short, her name is. Wife thinks it's unhealthy, though.
Well, how do you mean?
Well, she's half his age.
What?
Oh, in a manner of speaking, that is, sir. She's only 17, not long out of school.
Are you sure?
Well, Alan told us that much.
Oh, thank you. 17, 27? Oh, that's not bad.
He wants to go abroad, emigrate.
What sort of a girl is she, I wonder?
Oh, I don't know much about her. Dad's a plumber with Hodgson's. Mother's dead. She lives with him and her younger sister. He wants to go on his own. Run away.
Well, that's ridiculous.
It's just like her, Alan. He wouldn't take on responsibilities.
No, he's got to this time.
Oh, not if he can help it.
See, he can't be forced to marry her. I mean, there's nothing in the law. It's a good job. He's a good mechanic. And as you say, it's probably, well, high time he took himself a wife.
Well, you can't tell your own kids what's best for them. They won't listen.
Well, they do, you know. Or sometimes.
Well, yours is girls, maybe. Anyway, our Alan's a man. He's been in digs 4 years. I can't make him do this or that.
You can tell him his duty, Frank. And you're not going to let him have this money to emigrate on his own?
Well, I wouldn't, even if he had it.
Fine. I'm sorry.
Sir, what am I to do? Well, he's not going to get away with it. Only
what?
Well, this talk of emigrating. He might find a way without the money.
Well, work his own passage. Are you serious?
The young fella never know what they'll do when they feel cornered.
Look, does anybody else know about this? I mean, the girl's father or sister?
I don't reckon.
Right, then would you like me to have a word with him?
Well, better not, sir. He knows you're on the bench and that. It'll only take a wrong word and... As the wife thought of coming to see Mrs. Bourne, I said it was my place to have a word with you. Only for advice. Sorry to take your time up, sir.
Oh, no, Frank. Now, look here. We don't only pay your wages. We will sort something out.
We're very grateful for a lot of things, sir. Only
what?
Well, I don't reckon there's much time to waste.
What a way to start the new year.
More like what a way to end the old one. Aye, for Frank and Mrs. Chapman. You know, if I had an inkling of what he wanted to talk to me about...
How could you? Anyway, we couldn't have discussed it, not with Granny and my father here.
Oh, did they get off all right?
Yes, your mother fussed all the way in the car, and then they were 10 minutes early when they got to the station. Is Anne up yet?
No, I think she's still in bed. Oh, I say. I mean, it's all right, is it, to discuss this sort of thing in front of her?
Well, yes, of course. Unless you expect some sort of sensible contribution.
I say, I'd like a word with young Chapman just the same. He ought to have more concern for his parents. Well, you know how people talk around here.
There is one other small consideration.
What's that?
The girl.
Oh, yes, of course.
Very much, of course. It's all very well exercising our minds on the Chapmans' behalf.
But, my dear, I just thought all that was part and parcel.
Yes, as a man, naturally you would. You're concerned about Frank and his wife, and I dare say about Alan, but what about that poor girl? I mean, has he even told her he doesn't want to marry her or just left her wondering?
Oh, come now. You know, he is the son of my head dairyman. I've been an employee on this estate for 20 years.
That sounds a bit feudal, darling.
Mm-hmm. And what is that supposed to imply?
Well, just because Alan's the son of good old dependable upright Frank, you expect him to come out of exactly the same mould. Anyway, I'm not sure that it's our right to intrude at all.
They work for us, Helen, and Frank came to me for advice.
Well, there's only one advice to give. Alan must be made to marry the girl.
Well, that sounds a bit feudal too, doesn't it?
Yes, I suppose it does. Look, we know what the Chapmans feel. And we've assumed what Alan's reactions might be. But has anyone considered that Peggy might not even want to marry him?
Only she knows that, I suppose.
Yes, well, it would help if everyone else did. I mean, he's... Not every girl's Prince Charming, not with all that grease on his hair. Why don't the Chapmans ask her?
What? Well, can you imagine them doing that? I mean, they haven't even met the girl. Well, who are you ringing?
The garage. Aubrey 230, please.
Helen, you can't speak to him on the
Other thing that
telephone.
hasn't occurred to anyone is that he might be intending to marry her anyway, in which case all this...
Yes, but
Hello?
we can't see...
Aubrey Motors? Oh, hello, Mr. Monks. This is Mrs. Bourne, Larkfield Manor. Oh, Happy New Year to you too, Mr. Monks. Oh, I'm sorry to be a nuisance, but I don't seem to be able to start my car this morning. I do rather need it this afternoon. No, I'm afraid everything under the bonnet is a complete mystery to me. I'm scared stiff of that starting handle flying back. If I knew when my husband was coming home, I wouldn't trouble you any... Oh, could he? That would be kind, coming out on his motorbike. Hmm? Oh, I shouldn't think it would be anything that would take him very long. Oh, thank you so much, Mr. Monks. Thank you. Goodbye. Alan Chapman will be here sometime before lunch.
Helen, I thought we agreed...
You said you wanted to see him. You don't have to ask him anything outright. Just get him into conversation.
Hello, Alan. Happy New Year to you.
Oh, thanks, sir. Mrs. Bourne phoned up about the car.
Yes, look, Alan, I'm awfully sorry about this, but I only just got back myself, you know. My wife said there's something wrong with the car. Now, I said, well, I'll take a look myself, and, well, it was just one of the distributor leads, jumped off. Wasn't time to telephone and stop you.
Oh, well, that's all right then, sir.
No, look here. Look, while you are here, would you just come in for a moment? I got a cheque for you to take back to Mr. Monk.
Oh, shall I give the engine the once over while you're getting it, sir?
No. There's no need. Well, last month's account. Yes, save me posting. Now, where on earth has that got to? Gee, I only wrote it out yesterday. That's a funny thing, isn't it? Put a thing down, gone in half a minute, isn't it? Well, I'll just have to write another. Yeah. There we are. Are you keeping well, Alan?
Yes, thanks, sir.
Yes, we don't see very much of you. I mean, how are things these days?
Just the usual, sir.
Mm-hmm. Those digs of yours, they all right?
Can't grumble, sir.
long is it now since you've been at Halbury Motors?
Coming up 5 years now, sir.
Really? Oh, you're quite an old hand, eh?
I suppose so.
You planning to stay? I mean, young men these days, you know, they're getting about a bit into the cities, going abroad, that sort of thing.
Well, Mr. Monks is a good boss, sir.
Well, ask Mr. Monks to give me a receipt.
Yes, sir.
And they say something about naval officers needing to be diplomats.
Were you listening?
Of course.
One makes an effort.
One could do better. Wouldn't it be ironic if the car didn't start after all?
What?
Well, I do need it this afternoon.
Where are you going?
Into Horbury, to the cinema.
Anywhere you like.
This will do. Miss Short. Peggy.
Yes?
I'm Mrs. Bourne of Larkfield Manor. My husband, Commander Bourne, employs Alan Chapman's father.
Oh, yes. He's mentioned you, madam.
Kindly, I hope.
Oh, yes.
Alan's father has told us all about you and Alan. We would like to help you.
Why?
Can't you understand why?
You don't know me, I'm a stranger.
No, you're not a stranger to us. See, Alan's parents have lived and worked on our estate for years. Well, Alan was born in their cottage.
I've never been to their place.
No, I gather. Well, what I'm trying to say is that they're very nice people. They're as good and respectable as you'd find anywhere.
Till I came along, I suppose.
Now, don't be silly, Peggy.
That's what people are going to say, isn't it?
Has Alan asked you to marry him?
Not yet.
How long is it since?
A few weeks.
Have you seen a doctor?
I didn't need to. I know. I wouldn't pretend. I want to know if he's going to marry me. That's all I want to know. Excuse me. Anywhere you like.
He hasn't said he won't marry you.
Oh, not exactly. He hasn't said he will. He's not going to, is he? You've come to tell me.
Oh, no, not at all, Peggy. I've just come to find out a few things.
I've got nothing against Alan. It was my fault as much as his. It was only the once. If he doesn't want to marry me, I shan't chase after him. If you don't want someone to feel they're stuck with you or hate you.
No.
Oh, I'm sorry, Mrs. Bourne. It's not knowing, you see.
Well, it sounds to me as if she'd be wasted on him as a wet lettuce, that Alan chap.
Well, at least he's capable of becoming a father at one go.
Don't be so indelicate, Arthur.
I thought that was quite good coming from Daddy.
Alan's just a bit of an unsteady type, that's all. Once in captivity, they probably make quite good husbands.
I know the type. Don't look for promotion. In fact, decline it if it's offered. They're just happy doing the job and very dependable at it.
Well, if Alan Chapman's going to go on doing the job he's proved so good.
That's enough, Anne. I'm trying to think how we can help these poor people. I'm sorry for that girl.
All right, what? If anyone says boo to him, he'll run away. His parents can't persuade him. If I was that girl, I'd make him face it.
It's just lack of responsibility.
The old keeper's cottage across the pasture.
Well, what about it?
Well, for them to live in, Alan and Peggy.
What do you mean if he'd marry her?
Yes, of course.
Oh, no, wait a minute.
What?
No, nothing. No, it's a very good idea.
Can I take your hat?
No.
Oh, this way. Mr. Wickham to see you.
Good morning.
Mr. Bourne?
Yes?
Yes, well, I'd like a word with you, please, if you can spare me a moment. I'm the headmaster of Horbury School.
Oh, yeah. Yes, of course. We haven't met, have we? Oh, yeah, we were just going to have a glass of sherry, eh?
I don't, thank you.
Well, what can I do for you?
In private, if you don't mind.
Yes, of course. My study is through there. Do sit down.
I've been speaking to one Alan Chapman. I think you know who I mean.
Yes, indeed, I do. Alan's father's just been here. When did you speak to Alan?
Well, about an hour ago. I took the bus straight out here. Well, no doubt you can guess it's about this business of Peggy Short, who happens to be a former pupil at my school.
Yes, that's most unfortunate.
Yes. I gather you condone the relationship.
Well, I don't think it's up to me to condone it or otherwise, Mr. Wickham. No, Alan's father, happens to be an employee of mine, and he came to me, well, not unnaturally, I think, for advice. Well, that is my wife and I, we're trying to help.
Are you telling me that you, a Justice of the Peace, can say you don't condemn it?
Oh, come now, Mr. Wickham. I mean, these things happen. They haven't committed a crime.
That's a matter of opinion.
Mr. Wickham, were you ever in the services?
Well, I can't see what that's got to... Well, yes, as a matter of fact, I was in the army.
What do you mean to say that you're still shocked by a situation like this?
Oh, don't misinterpret me, Mr. Bourne. I deplore what these two have done, and the fact that the man is 10 years older than Peggy tastes pretty nasty to me. But that's not the point. What does shock me is the action you've seen fit to take.
This offer of a cottage, is that it?
Everything that it implies, yes. It smacks to me of patronage and paternalism. See, there was a time when a country gentleman could dispose of the lives of his tenants how he chose, but those days are over, Mr. Bourne.
I'm usually addressed as Commander, Mr. Wickham.
My apologies, Commander.
Oh, no, it's not self-aggrandisement, Happens to be a custom of my old service, the Royal Navy, whose traditions I cherish, and uphold.
I see.
And when I was in the Navy, I very soon learnt that it is the duty of an officer to be concerned about the private lives of the men under his command.
Oh, did you say the men under his command?
For whom he is responsible.
Yes, well, I didn't come here for a lecture on naval tradition. I came here to sort out...
No. I'm not trying to give you one, Mr. Wickham. I'm merely trying to explain to you my own personal attitude to Alan Chapman and Peggy Short.
And pray, where is the connection with sailors on a battleship?
I will explain. Now, a sailor with a problem. Now, he's a very inefficient, no, he's a very sad fellow. And so he goes to his petty officer. Now, if he can't help, then he goes to the officer of his watch, and if he can't resolve it, then he goes all the way up to the captain, the father of his ship. Oh, yes. Yes, that is paternalism, as you call it, at every stage. But believe me, it gets results.
Well, thanks very much for enlightening me. I've heard it said you're an easy touch on the bench, and I know why.
I try to help people, Mr. Wickham, when it's help they need rather than punishment. If that makes me an easy touch, oh, yes, I am.
Well, of course, you're the best judge of that.
No, not at all. I've seen the results of just and unjust punishment often enough.
Look, I feel I must point out to you that you're supposed to be a justice of the peace, an officer of the law, not the damned navy.
And you kindly watch your language in this house, sir.
Since you seem uncertain of your duty in this matter, I'd better tell you it. Now, instead of using your local position and wealth to buy young Chapman's consent to marry this girl, you seems to me you'd be far better occupied pointing out to him what a paternity order means. Well, as it happens, I've saved you the trouble.
You what?
Oh, yes, well, luckily when this girl found out her condition, she came straight to my wife. Now, my wife reported the matter to me, and I told Peggy what to say and do. Well, since she seems to have kept putting it off, I thought this morning I'd have a word with young Chapman myself. I was just in time to learn about your intervention.
Oh, for the idiotic, I mean, don't you realise?
I realise that the Law Society, whatever controls JPs, will have something to say about a gentleman magistrate covering up a case like this, till his employee's erring son can wriggle off the hook and leave the girl in the lurch.
Now, you look here, Wickham.
Or was it just a nice chance to get a free maidservant by way of payment in kind, eh? Oh, the wretched girl wouldn't suspect anything like that, would she? Oh, no. Just be, so grateful to the kindly squire and his lady.
You will kindly not refer to my wife in that tone. Now, obviously, Mr. Wickham, you are in no mood to discuss this matter rationally. Nor are you likely to understand my actions and motives.
No, aren't I?
And incidentally, I must question your knowledge of the law. An affiliation order, as it is called, can only be applied for when the child is born. And in the meantime, there is no law to compel a marriage between the two parties in dispute.
Well, I've no doubt there are other ways.
No, there aren't. And if you wish to question my conduct as a JP, then I suggest you get in touch with the Lord Lieutenant of the County, because he lives quite near here. Or failing him, the Lord Chancellor. You'll find him sitting in London, in the House of Lords, on a sack of wool.
I'm not entirely ignorant of public affairs, you know, even if I wasn't an officer in the Royal Navy. You won't get away with this, you know. I'll see to that.
There we are, that's finished. Here you are, darling.
Thanks.
But try it on.
Oh, it'll do, thanks.
Honestly, you are the end. I go to all the trouble of taking up a skirt you should have seen was miles too long for you when you bought it. You can't even be bothered to see if it's all right. I don't know.
There. Satisfied?
You're the one that's supposed to be satisfied.
I merely wear the thing.
Oh, thanks. Jolly well do your own altering in future.
You know I can't sew a stitch.
Yes, I know you can't. It's high time you learnt. Must say, I wish that Alan would hurry up and take that cottage and let his wife help out here a bit. She could do the sort of thing.
Oh, she's not his wife yet.
No, but once she is. On the other hand, the less said about Peggy coming to help us here, the better. That schoolmaster accused your father of trying to get a free domestic servant.
Him.
Shouldn't be surprised if that's the way Alan sees it, too. He probably sees her becoming a perpetual servant here with himself some sort of an appendage to the estate. Whereas it wouldn't be like that at all in reality.
Liz would see it like that if she was here.
I wish that Liz would realize that there are worse things in life than bringing up a family in a nice little cottage. It is rather what women are for.
She'd call that slush.
Yes.
She'd inform us that domestic service is degrading.
Yes, I know.
Gosh, I'd sooner dust and sweep someone's nice house than slog away in a noisy factory or be an usherette in some flea pit of a cinema.
Yes, I agree.
By the way, Susan Riley's thinking of applying for that job at the Copper Kettle in Horbury.
What job?
Well, Miss Pringle's put up a notice in the window for a new waitress. Bright and cheerful girl wanted. Haven't you seen it?
I haven't been in there lately. Is it a bright and cheerful place these days?
The Copper Kettle. Quiet as the grave. People whispering to each other at little corner tables, all very conspiratorial.
The perfect place, in fact, for a confidential talk with someone.
Ideal.
61, 70, 80, 90, 94. Come in.
Sorry to disturb you, Daddy. Just wondered if Mummy was in here.
No, darling, I haven't seen her.
Only she said she'd be back soon after 11 and it's gone 5:30.
Yes, well, wasn't she going over to see someone at Horbury or something?
Yes, and have coffee with them, but she did promise to bring back my shoes from the repairers, that's all.
Uh-huh.
Doesn't matter.
Oh, Andy, I'm so sorry. No, it must be very lonely for you here on your own, and Liz and Vicky away.
Well, I'm all right. Quite happy, really. Well, at least I can get into the bathroom when I want.
Were you off for a ride?
No, I've just been.
Well, look here, shove some of those letters into the envelopes, all right?
Okay. Daddy?
Yeah?
Do you think it's right that we should all get so worked up about Alan Chapman and that girl in the cinema?
Why?
Well, I mean, if he's sort of done her wrong, isn't it their business and not ours? Seems to me rather a cheat for anyone to tell them they've got to get married. After all, nowadays, people don't always want to marry, do they? Oughtn't they to be left to work out their own lives?
No, I don't think so. You see, my darling, what you're forgetting is that young Alan is not just some young motor mechanic who's got a cinema usherette with child, or whatever you would like to call it. No, he is Frank Chapman's boy. He was born up here at Larkfield, on one of the estate cottages. Oh, he's almost one of the family.
Yes, but Alan's nothing to do with us now, beyond mending the car every now and again when it's broken.
Oh, yes, he's much more than that, you know. And we owe it to his parents, you know, to make it easier for him to marry this girl, whom he seems quite fond of, rather than abandon her.
Oh, Daddy.
Oh, yeah. You can laugh at that. And they can all laugh at us for trying. But if lack of somewhere to live, and the feeling that, nobody cares for them, is going to stop him from marrying her, run away from his responsibilities, then we will have failed. Now, that's the 20-to-1 shot, you see. I mean, they may refuse the cottage, tell us to mind our own business. Oh, it's a gamble. But I think it's worthwhile.
Yes, I do see. Mummy says it's what you would have done for one of your sailors.
Mummy was right. Well, come on, you've only done a couple.
Good morning, Mrs. Bourne. Hello, Miss Pringle. Happy New Year to you.
Thank
Thank you, and the same to you. I'm sorry to keep you waiting, but I'm having to do all the serving myself
That's
today.
all right. I hear your last waitress didn't last very long.
Long enough for me, I can tell you. It's hard without some help, but she wasn't any. Do
She's
you
what
know
don't let
that...
me keep you. I'll have coffee and biscuits. I'm just waiting for someone.
Yes, madam. Hello, Mrs. Wickham.
Hello, Miss Pringle.
I'm Mrs. Bourne.
Oh, how do you do?
I'm so glad you could come. Please do sit down. I'm having coffee and biscuits. What can I get you?
I'll have the same, thank you.
For two?
Thank you. It's bitter, isn't it? I'm sure we'll have snow by tonight.
Yes, I shouldn't be surprised.
I love seeing snow in the countryside, but it gets so messy on the pavements.
Yes.
Getting about and asking people to wipe their feet all the time. Have you a family, Mrs. Wickham?
A son, yes.
Does he live here with you?
No, he stayed on in Birmingham when he got married.
Oh. Is that where you came from, originally?
That's right.
Was your husband a headmaster there, too?
An assistant.
Oh. Any special subject?
Mathematics.
I see.
There you are.
Thank you.
Now, are you sure that's all, ladies?
Yes, thank you, Miss Pringle. Shall I pour, Mrs. Wickham? Black or white?
White, please.
This is a nice little place.
Mrs. Bourne, why did you invite me?
I wanted to meet you. I thought it would be a good idea. You know our husbands have met. But it seems they didn't find very much common ground, so I thought perhaps
I wondered if perhaps that was it. Well, Mrs. Bourne, I agree. I think it's a very good idea indeed.
You see, I've
If you hadn't telephoned.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No. Sorry. I was going to say, if you hadn't telephoned me, I think I would have rung you. Well, I think I would.
Oh, I'm so glad.
If only to apologise for my husband.
Oh, no, that
You
wasn't
see, he gets emotional very, very easily. He was shell-shocked during the war.
Oh, I see.
Oh, it wasn't bad enough for him to be discharged. They moved him into the educational corps. He was a sergeant. But it left its effect on him. And he has these moods, tempers, just like that.
I am sorry to hear that. My husband does appreciate Mr. Wickham's concern for one of his former pupils. And Alan Chapman's very much to blame for what's happened, but you see, well, we do know his character quite well, and basically he's as honest and decent as his parents are. He just has this inability to face responsibility. Well, that's quite a common failing, isn't it?
Yes, I'm afraid it is.
Well, Peggy wants to marry him, and his parents want him to, and, well, insofar as it's any of our business, we think it would work out very well. Only, of course, the move has to be made by Alan himself.
Do you think he might run away from it all?
Yes, I do, you see. And that's why, if you don't mind my saying so, your husband could do a lot more harm than good. I mean, he could make Alan panic if he goes on talking of affiliation papers and things like that.
Has Alan said anything yet about the cottage?
No, not yet.
He's not turned it down, though?
No, that's the most hopeful sign we see. Mrs. Wickham?
Yes.
Why, apart from this emotional difficulty, which I'm so sorry to hear about, but it did seem odd to us that your husband should seem so resentful at our efforts to help.
Yes, please. Well, you see, you must understand that he's lived most of his life in Birmingham. That is, apart from the war and coming here. He worked in the Ladywood area. It's one of the worst areas in Birmingham.
Oh, yes, I have heard of it.
You see everything there. Utter poverty, despair, crime, violence, promiscuity. It's a very different world from round here.
Yes, I suppose it is.
And the fact that you just happen to have a cottage available, when most of the people that we're used to living amongst live several families to a house, to a room even. I mean, to my husband, that smacked of the squire and his lady.
Lording it up at the manor, yes, I see. Well, I can assure you we're not in the least bit like that. We're not grand. We live very simply. Your husband has been to our house. Hasn't he told you that it isn't particularly luxurious?
Well, I did ask him, of course, out of sheer curiosity, but he couldn't tell me. I don't suppose he noticed his surroundings at all.
Why don't you both come to tea with us?
Oh.
Oh, yes, please do. I assure you there's no bad feeling on my husband's part. And, well, as we've all got involved in this matter, well, wouldn't it be nice to discuss it over a friendly cup of tea?
Well,
Would you like some more coffee, ladies?
why not?
What you hope to achieve by this. I'm not looking forward to it one bit. In fact, I'm getting rather bored by the whole business. What with that rude schoolmaster barging in here and insulting Daddy, and the whole elaborate charade. All over a bit of a girl we don't even know, and that soft, greasy Alan Chapman.
I wonder who that can be.
It's them!
It can't be. Well, you better go and let them in, I suppose. Oh, dear. It's only just gone 4 o'clock. They're half an hour early.
Mummy, it's Mr. and Mrs. Wickham.
I'm so sorry, Mrs. Bourne. There wasn't another bus for an hour, so we risked coming early.
That's quite all right.
This is my husband.
How do you do, Mr.
Afternoon,
Wickham?
Mrs. Bourne.
This is my middle daughter, Anne.
You do?
Oh, there you are, darling.
Yeah.
This is Mrs. Wickham.
I'm very pleased to meet you, Commander Bourne.
And you, Mrs. Wickham?
You have met my husband.
Yes. Yes, good afternoon, Mr. Wickham.
Good afternoon, Commander.
Well, why don't you all make yourselves comfortable? Excuse me just one moment. I'll finish getting tea ready.
May I help you?
No, that's quite all right. Anne can help me.
Well, I'm afraid pins and needles, you know, they're a constant hazard here. I do hate muddle, but I'm afraid it's a losing battle.
That must be effect of the Navy. All those coiled ropes and sparkling brasses, everything shipshape.
Yeah. Fortunately, you know, the Navy is not run by women. Oh, I'm so sorry. I beg your pardon.
I agree with you, actually. I think my husband would, too.
Yes, all the way. Thanks. Oh. I think one of them's got me. Right there.
And really.
I'm so sorry, Mr. Wickham. It's probably mine. I've been altering a skirt.
Well, here I've been all these years talking about people being as sharp as a needle, and I've only just found out what it means.
Hello, Wickham. Very good of you to come out.
Oh, no, it's no trouble, no. No, a neighbour of mine was driving into Hereford and he gave me a lift as far as the crossroads.
Good.
Oh, thanks very much.
Well, now, I thought we might talk in here. My wife and daughter have gone over to a bazaar at Longbridge.
Oh, yes.
Oh, do sit down.
Oh, thanks. Yes, well, it was very kind of you to entertain my wife and myself to tea yesterday.
Oh, it was a pleasure.
Oh. Well, Commander.
Well, Mr. Wickham, now that our wives have put their heads together, well, what shall I say, paved the way for a better understanding between us.
You thought you'd follow up with one last attempt to persuade me?
Well, frankly, yes. You see, Mr. Wickham, I am really, well, two people, I mean, on the one hand, I am a Justice of the Peace, public servant to the Crown, ex-Royal Navy. But on the other, I'm just a private citizen who happens to have a bit of land with a cottage on it.
Yes, I'll grant you that.
Good. Yes, well, what nobody knows, I mean, this is neither you nor my wife nor indeed your own wife, is that this cottage was promised several months ago to a nephew of my gardener Gates, who is coming down here this summer to help with the fruit picking. Well, we market our own produce, you see. Well, you will understand this. It helps with the school fees.
Yeah, but if the cottage is intended for somebody else, why did you suggest that...
to give this cottage to young Chapman, was my wife's idea, and I didn't want to upset her. Well, anyway, I've spoken to my gardener, and I've arranged to pay for lodgings in the village for his nephew. Well, I'm not complaining, but, well, this will cost me money.
Yes, I should think it will.
No, I'm perfectly prepared to pay this money. See, to do right by Frank Chapman, his wife, and his son. Because it's my duty. I mean, is that immoral? I mean, is that paternalism, as you call it? I'm simply asking you to think about it.
Yes, well, I have thought about it, Commander, and I'm still of the opinion that the correct procedure is for Peggy Short to use the machinery of the law to obtain her rights.
Oh, Lord, I'm wasting my breath.
No, I'm talking about the correct procedure. What ought to be done, not what could be done.
Uh-huh.
On certain occasions.
Oh, well, no, exactly. I mean, that is my point. Now, what I'm suggesting is a tacit agreement between us, without the knowledge of our wives. In fact, a gentleman's agreement.
Yes, well, I'm not too fond of that phrase, but...
It's the only one I know. Oh, come on, Wicker. I mean, far from acquiring a cheap servant, I'm losing a cottage I do need, for two people I don't need. Oh, and paying rent for a chap I do need.
Yes. Well, I'll reflect on what you say, Commander, of course, but, I'm doubtful, even if it costs you money, whether the principle involved is not being seriously compromised.
Very well.
Well, I'll see myself out.
No. I will see you out.
Well, I don't know what he's all about. What's the headmaster of Albury School got to do with our Alan's affairs?
Didn't Alan tell you?
Nothing.
Well, then, doesn't really matter then, does it, Frank?
If you ask me, sir, there's been some conniving going on that I don't know about.
Well, I wouldn't say it was conniving, exactly.
It's not for me to ask a lot of questions. All I know is that our Alan and Peggy are looking to your cottage at this minute.
Yes, and I hope they won't be too long. I promised the vicar I've got to read the lesson in church the next couple of Sundays. Well, Frank, fingers crossed.
He might still say no.
Well, so could Peggy. I mean, it's her choice too,
Well, I take her for granted.
That's a great mistake with women, Besides, you know the state of the cottage. I mean, well, it's enough to put most people off.
Oh, our Alan can make anything, sir.
Well, he may have to. Now, come on, Frank. Anne and Mrs. Bourne still upstairs. Face them together, eh? Fingers crossed. Hello, Alan. Miss Short. Well, your father's in there waiting for you.
Hello, Dad. What are you doing here?
Well, is it all right?
Just the place, Dad. It's been so long since I last looked inside it, I'd forgotten what it was like.
Oh, it's lovely. All those beams and that big fireplace.
Well, you certainly won't have much time on your hands. There's a lot to do to it.
Alan says he can do anything in that line. Can he, Mr. Chapman?
Well, you can't wash up or help keep the place tidy, I'll warn you that.
Well, Alan, then it'll suit you, eh?
Down to the ground, sir. Thank you very much, sir.
Oh, we're ever so grateful, sir.
Oh, now, you won't be able to live there straight away, It'd take a couple of weeks to even make a couple of rooms habitable.
Oh, what? I reckon we can afford to wait a while yet, sir.
Yes, that's absolutely splendid. But in the meantime...
Oh, would you come and live with us?
Oh, we couldn't do that, Dad.
Why not?
Well, it wouldn't...
Of course we could, Alan.
Good for you, Miguel. You start as you mean to go on with him.
But I mean...
You heard your dad, Alan. You know we couldn't live at your digs. And it'd be hopeless at my dad's. Yes, thank you very much, Mr. Chapman. If we're wanted, we'll be very much obliged. And we won't outstay our welcome.
Congratulations, Al. And I think everyone will be delighted.
Oh, yes, sir. I reckon pretty soon now, sir, before her father gets his shotgun out.
Don't you mock at shotgun weddings, boy. Your mother and me had one 27 years ago next month. I don't reckon it's lasted too bad. Oh, come on, the pair of you. Come on, as when you go to church.
Thanks very much, sir.
Thank you, sir. We'll have a word with your mum. Thanks.
Was I seeing things just now from the window?
No. Alan's accepted the cottage. Oh, come on, we're going to be late.
What made up his mind for him, did he say?
No, he didn't, but Frank did. Oh, look, hold these on me, darling. Give us a hand here. Now then, don't fall down in a faint or anything, will you? But it was Wickham.
Mr. Wickham, the schoolmaster.
I don't believe it.
He went back to Alan yesterday and told him that any young couple should be delighted to start married life in a cottage of their own. I can't see why. Anyway, we won our bet, didn't we? No, he said hundreds of young couples would be delighted at the chance. Right, now come on, because we are late.
It was making friends with her and having them here to tea.
Yes, and showing them we weren't horrible, nasty rich people.
Yes, I should think so. Telephone. Hello? Yes, it is. Commander Bournes...
Thought I must bring this in. Isn't it pretty? There's quite a frost last night. Oh, who are you ringing up?
No, it's someone ringing us from London, darling. Taking a devil of a time to get through.
Oh, I hope there's nothing wrong with Alice.
Oh, don't fuss, dear. Liz! Liz, hello. Oh, it's nice to hear from you. A what? Well, when? Well, hold on. I'll ask your mother. Is it all right if she comes down tomorrow?
Well, of course it's all right. It's her home, isn't it?
Your mother will be absolutely delighted. No, just bring yourself. Well, hold on. I will ask again. Do you want anything brought?
Oh, yes, you might go to the Times Book Club and see they've got the new Dorothy Sayers in. They promised to send it and didn't.
Your mother says...
Dr. Harrington's here. We met on the drive.
Anne, hold that, would you? I'll take it in the study. Good morning, Harrington.
Good morning, Commander.
A bit nippy today.
Yes, much colder.
Dr. Harrington, how kind of you to come so quickly.
Not at all. I got a message to call in. Who is the patient?
It's our nanny.
She's poorly.
Well, I hope it's nothing very much, but at her age she must take care, and it's beyond me to get her to take a rest.
Quite. Shall I go straight up?
Oh, I'll take you up.
By the way, how old is Miss Benson? I'm sure she'd rather I didn't ask her.
Why did you call her nanny like everyone else does? She'd much prefer it.
Would she?
Well, now, let me see. My husband's 45, and she came to this house when he was born as nursery maid. She must have been about 20 then.
Which would make her 65 now. She looks more.
Yes, well, she's never spared herself, you see. It's been impossible to get her to take a holiday. You know, until Vicky was 7, she never spent a night away.
Now then, what was I doing? Who is?
What do you think of our new doctor, Papa?
What, Harrington?
Oh, Daddy.
Oh, I think he's making a very good reputation very quickly. Dr. Cropper's delighted with him. Oh, I think he's a bit shy, you know, but what with his social background, he probably feels at a slight disadvantage.
Why on earth should he? Our darling, untidy old house is hardly Buckingham Palace.
Hardly. Oh, by the way, that was your sister Liz on the phone. Finally decided to come home.
Lovely. When?
Tomorrow. And do you know what is more? She has bought herself a car. Wolseley Hornet.
One of those new ones?
I would have preferred her to go to Horbury Motors. You know, they need the customers.
Lucky her. I'd love to have a car of my own.
Well, you spent all your money on 4 legs.
Blessed creature. I wouldn't swap Tallulah for a Rolls Royce. What time is Liz arriving, did she say?
What, in the new car? Well, I'd say about 4 o'clock.
La da 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 da.
Is that you singing or Tallulah?
Liz! I've arrived safe and sound. Lovely to see you. Where's the new car?
In the drive. Mummy said I'd find you in here.
Oh, yes. Well, last week I asked Gates to clean the tap for me, and Daddy was not amused. Well, he's right, I suppose. Tallulah is my business, and Gates is busy in the garden now. Winter's over, so... Tell me all about it. About what? London and what you've been doing.
Well, I wrote a short thesis on pneumoconiosis.
Sounds boring.
Well, not to me. I did a course of extramural lectures at UCH. I went out quite a lot with Phyllis. Oh, she was an angel. I think she guessed I was running away from a love affair. She kept introducing me to interesting men.
Any good?
Not really.
So the escape from Dr. Heartthrob hasn't worked?
Well, I wouldn't say that.
You mean you have got over it?
I think so. In fact, I'm nearly sure.
Good.
But what about you?
Well, actually, I've got a new young man.
Who?
He's rather sweet.
Oh, do tell.
He's called Michael Sherwood. He's 26. He was at Ampleforth in Cambridge. I met him at that ghastly fancy dress party on New Year's Eve. He was dressed as Mephistopheles and was about the only person who dared to talk to me.
Army?
No, poor dear, the city. He's a commodity broker. His uncle's firm, he hates it. But he's taken up flying with the Auxiliary Air Force. They fly Hawker Harts at Hendon, apparently, at weekends.
Is that impressive?
Well, yes, it is. They're bomber aeroplanes. Warplanes.
Oh, then I'm duly impressed.
Well, he's coming to stay this weekend. But Daddy may not approve.
Why not?
Oh, because Michael's a Roman Catholic.
Oh, what bad luck.
Well, tell me about the Wolseley Hornet. Must be fun having your own car. Did you speed coming up?
Not really.
But isn't it terrifying driving in London?
It's no worse than Market Day in Hereford. Oliver was an angel. He went out with me the first time, and we drove right through the city. I wasn't a bit nervous. Oh, I think he was.
How is Oliver?
Very nice and fun to be with.
Do you like him any better?
I'll never be in love with him, if that's what you mean.
Pity. Well, there. That'll do. Better go in now. It's nearly tea time. Coming?
Draw the curtains down. It's getting dark. Anne?
I'll do it. Just look at the crocuses under the cedar tree. They're better than ever this year.
Yes, aren't they?
They're lovely in Hyde Park, too. But they're never so fresh in London. It is nice to be home.
I don't know how Phyllis can stand living in London.
Oh, she loves it. She's got 1 or 2 brilliant pupils, and she does know a lot of interesting people. Well, one night after a concert, we actually had supper with Moseyevich.
Who's he?
Oh, Anne. Benno Moseyevich. He is a very famous concert pianist. We went out onto the balcony of the Café Royal and looked down on all the famous people at their tables below.
That must have been fun.
Yes, it was. Phil sent her love, by the way, and particularly asked news of Vicky.
We had a very happy letter last weekend. They spend their weekends in the mountains, and the Von Hanigs have got a chalet near Garmisch. Vicky says she's getting very good at skiing.
And what about her music?
Oh, she's working hard, I gather, and going to lots of concerts.
Well, I must go. Got this agricultural committee meeting. Oh, don't hold up dinner for me, darling, if I'm late.
Well, I'll wait till 8:30 and then start.
Oh, look! Oliver at the meet of the Beaver on that splendid grey pits.
Yes, he told me he was going off to a smart hunting weekend last month.
Have you seen much of him lately?
Oh, quite a bit.
You must ask him here for a weekend.
Oh, I can't. He's just gone off to Egypt with his regiment. He's in the Coldstream, you know.
Oh, what a pity. Well, I must go up and see Nanny. How do you think she seemed, Liz?
Oh, not too bad. She looks as though she could do with a rest.
The trouble is she wore herself out, dragooning the dailies into doing the spring cleaning. So unnecessary. I must try and stop her next year. I'll take her out that tonic that Dr. Harrington prescribed for her. Where is it, Anne? Anne?
What?
Well, the tonic that you were going to fetch at the surgery this morning.
Oh, golly, I forgot it.
Oh, Anne will forget her own head next.
Beast!
Oh, Nanny's quite right. Well, we'll just have to pick it up tomorrow. Are you going to Horbury tomorrow, Liz?
Yes, to have the oil in my car changed.
Well, then perhaps you can pick it up.
Yes, of course. You forgot that tonic on purpose, didn't you? You left it for me.
Did I?
Mrs. Perry brought you? Good. Then she'll be waiting for you. See Mr. Johnson to the car, will you please, Rhoda? And then you can go to lunch. It's 1:45. Leave the waiting room door. I'll see to it. Kay, come in.
Sorry if I'm late.
You aren't.
Why do we have to meet here?
I thought it would be easier to talk privately. I booked a table at the White Hart for a late lunch, but I didn't want everyone to hear what we were saying.
Well, I hate surgeries. They always make me think of illness and death.
Well, people do get cured too, you know.
Oh, don't. Why can't we go to your digs and talk?
Well, my landlady doesn't know I'm married. I mean, that was your idea.
All right. Don't rub it in.
In any case, I want to show you the house. See if you like it. Dr. Cropper's out for lunch, but he said I could show you over.
Well, I can tell you one thing. I hate these old-fashioned houses. I don't like the outside. I won't like it in.
But you haven't even seen it yet.
What are these?
X-rays, as you very well know. Do stop fidgeting, Kay, and sit down. You agreed to come here so that we could talk, as you seem incapable of answering my letters.
Well, I hate writing letters.
You don't seem to realize what a difficult position I'm in.
I don't see why you should be.
I've tried to explain it often enough. I'm neither a bachelor nor a married man, and for a doctor, that just won't do. I get the feeling you've already made up your mind not to live with me as my wife again.
Yes, Brian, I have. We've been through all this before. Why pretend? You don't love me, do you?
I did once. I believe I could again. And God knows I want us to.
Well, wanting isn't enough. I'm just not cut out to be a doctor's wife.
Have you told your parents?
Yes, they were...
Disappointed?
More than that. Angry and upset.
That doesn't surprise me.
Your mother would have minded, wouldn't she? If she'd been alive?
Yes. I'll have to tell my father, I suppose. He won't like it.
But it's our lives, Brian, not theirs.
Yes. I always felt that our respected families had got together and decided that we should marry just because they were friends. And we were too young and green to question their judgment.
We were in love, weren't we?
Yes, at first. In a young and idealistic sort of way. I suppose it is my fault. I was looking for a doctor's wife to help me with my work and share my life with. And you were looking for someone to go out with and be with all the time. Time that no doctor can afford to devote to his home and family alone.
Yes. Anyway...
Anyway?
Well, I've got someone now. Someone I'm nice and cozy with. Who likes to do the same things I like to do.
Do I know him?
Yes, actually. It's Norman Accrington.
Norman? You should have married him in the first place.
I know.
Why did you bother to come over here?
Well, it was your idea we should get together and talk. So I decided to get things over with once and for all. Oh, cheer up, Brian.
This meeting has been a sheer waste of time.
Not for me. Norman drove me over. He's waiting for me in the car. We're going to Port Miriam for a few days. Oh, don't bother about lunch. He'll give it to me. He's a very warm chap. Goodbye, Brian. Pity things didn't work out.
Come in, please. I thought you were in...
I only came for the tonic, for Nanny.
For Miss Benson. It was to be called for yesterday.
I know. Anne forgot it. I'm so sorry.
How is she?
Anne?
No, Miss... Nanny.
She's looking much better. Deeply resentful of having to rest. But I gave her a lecture this morning and told her you were absolutely right.
She won't believe you. When did you get back from town?
I drove myself up from London yesterday afternoon.
Why did you go away so suddenly? I almost came out, as I promised, to drop Hope, Hannah and Stallybrass, and then I heard from Dr. Cropper you'd gone up to London for a spell.
A sudden impulse. Look, I mustn't keep you. You'll miss your lunch.
Have you had yours?
Not yet.
I don't suppose you'd have lunch with me. I was due to lunch with someone at the White Hart, but there's been a change of plan. And I'm stuck with a table for two, so...
Well, why not? May I ring home and say I won't be back?
Of course.
Thank you. Winchley 8, please. If you're really sure.
Of course I am.
Anne, it's me. Liz, yes. Look, tell Mrs. Gates I won't be back to lunch. Never mind, make some excuse. Look, I'll explain when I get home.
But what time will you be back? Well, you must know. All right, I'll think of something to tell them. Bye, see you later.
Who is that, Anne?
Oh, Liz. She's not coming back to lunch.
Dear, she might have let us know sooner.
Well, she couldn't. Her car won't be ready till this afternoon.
Don't tell me something's gone wrong with her new car already.
I don't think it's much.
Well, what do you mean it's not much? I mean, either it's broken down and has to be repaired or it's not.
Well, she didn't go into a long thing about it. I don't know whether the engine's gone wrong or she's got a puncture or she can't start it or what. She's just said it won't be ready till this afternoon.
Well, it's funny she didn't say what was wrong with it. Are you sure she didn't?
Oh, Mummy, do stop grilling me. You're like a cop putting a gangster through the 3rd degree.
What on earth is the 3rd degree?
Never mind.
Well, whatever it is, we can go into lunch now. Your father's just got home.
More coffee?
Please. What about you?
Yes, please. I seem to have been talking about myself rather a lot, boring you with my troubles.
Not a bit. Can I ask you a question? Rather an impertinent one.
Of course.
If you and your wife had so little in common, why ever did you get married?
It was our parents' doing, really. Her father and mine were joint owners of a biggish grocer's shop in Wolverhampton. They'd been at school together and they were lifelong friends.
A dynastic marriage.
Well, hardly that. But naturally, they wanted it. Kay and I were almost the same age. We'd known each other all our lives. As a small boy, I liked her. As an older boy, I despised her simply for being a girl. And as an adolescent, I was violently attracted to her. In fact, I was knocked sideways by her.
Was she knocked sideways too?
I think she was. For a few months, we were wildly in love. You know how it is when you're 18?
No.
No? Didn't you ever have schoolgirl passions?
Both my sisters did. Still do, I suppose, especially Anne. But not me.
And you're so beautiful.
I'm not saying I didn't have any offers. I've just... Tell me more about you and your wife.
Our families were delighted when we became close friends, and before we knew where we were, there was an understanding and then an engagement. Of course, it had to be a long one. I'd only just started at medical school, and I couldn't marry until I qualified.
In all those years, didn't you ever meet anyone else?
Well, I'm not saying that I never flirted with an occasional nurse, but no one serious enough to break with Kay. Besides, I thought I still loved her. Perhaps I did in a way. But I was really more keen on my work than on her.
Was she interested in medicine?
No, that was half the trouble. She always said she'd make a hopeless doctor's wife, but I didn't believe her at first. She was a bit of a good time girl, always wanting me to take her out. I used to come home and talk endlessly about the abdominal aorta or the coilic artery when she wanted to go to the pictures. Poor Kay.
So you separated?
Not exactly. When I came here, she stayed on in Wolverhampton. But I still hoped she'd join me and settle here when Dr. Cropper finally left. I should have known better. I mean, every time I suggested that she should come here and see the house, she kept making excuses. Finally, she arranged to come today, and I had great hopes of a fresh start, but...
Poor Brian.
But it helps a bit to tell someone kind and sympathetic.
Do you think she might change her mind? I mean, after she's been on her own a bit longer.
She's not going to be on her own.
Oh.
She told me this morning that she's got someone else. I do know him. He's well off, extrovert sort of chap, admirably suited to her. So it really does seem to be all over between us. It's pretty final.
I see. So you...
What have you been doing in London all these weeks?
Staying with my aunt, working quite hard.
On a sudden impulse?
I did write to you to explain, but I tore up the letter. I suppose I was running away. I was just afraid that...
That we were becoming fond of each other?
I couldn't bear to think of breaking up someone's marriage.
Well, mine is broken up already.
Will you... Oh, no, I have no right to ask.
I think you have.
Well, what will you do now? I mean, about the house. What will you tell Croppy?
I don't know yet. I must think things over. For the moment, I won't tell him anything. I don't want anyone to know except you, of course. And you won't say anything, will you?
Not a word, I promise. If it helps you to talk, perhaps we could meet one evening. I've got my own car.
In Hereford, perhaps?
Yes, that might be wiser.
I'd like that very much. Good heavens, look at the time. I should have started my afternoon round.
Well, perhaps we shouldn't leave here together. You go first. Thank you for the lunch and for telling me everything.
We'll meet again soon, won't we?
Very soon.
Isn't it? I think I've got it now. I hope so. I don't want to make a fool of myself.
When?
Well, next week. Michael's taking me up to London for a week of parties and things. You're back late.
Not really, it's only just 4.
Well?
Well, what?
You were having lunch with him, weren't you?
With whom?
Of course, if you don't want to tell me, if you don't trust me.
I trust you, silly, but there's nothing to tell.
Why didn't you come back to lunch?
Do you remember Lydia Fairley? She was in my form at school. We were prefects together.
Oh, that red-haired girl with the teeth.
Yes. Well, I ran into her this morning at the garage in Horbury, and we decided to lunch together. I always rather liked her, but Mummy hated her mother. So I didn't make a point of telling you to tell her that I'd met Lydia.
Oh, I see.
Oh, don't worry, Anne.
Oh, there you are, Liz. Where on earth have you been? Nanny's been fretting for that tonic. Now do take it up.
Oh, the tonic. Oh, I'm sorry. I clean forgot it.
Oh, Liz.
Seen that Youth Club Association report?
Oh, isn't it there on the piano somewhere?
It's extraordinary. Wonder what it would sound like if you played it.
Well, better than some of the things we've been hearing in this house lately.
Oh, could we lunch early today?
How early?
About 1:45. I got this meeting at 1:30.
Oh, Anne, do me a favour. Would you go and ask Mrs. Gates lunch at 1:45, just the 3 of us?
Does Liz out to lunch again?
Yes, with the Hanbury vet. She's going to walk over there with the dogs. What are you going to do about this Red Cross dinner this evening?
Well, I shan't change here. It's bound to be a long, drawn-out affair, you know. I'll change at the station hotel. And then, if it's foggy, I could spend the night there.
Oh, it's a good idea. I've got a WI meeting this evening and... I'm having supper with Barbara Fisher afterwards.
Is today Thursday or Friday?
It's Friday, my dear vague child.
Funny, it feels like Thursday. But if it is Friday, I've got a hair appointment in Horbury this afternoon. Could you give me a lift in, Daddy?
Certainly, if you're ready to leave 1:30, sharp.
Of course I will be.
Winnie.
You going riding today?
Yes. I've been gossiping with Nanny. She seems much better.
She was very annoyed that you forgot her tonic.
I know. She made that very clear. She said she expected me to forget, but not you, Liz.
Yes, it wasn't like you at all.
No, it wasn't, was it? Sorry. I'll go. Oh, hello, Dr. Harrington. Hello.
Good morning, Dr. Harrington.
Good morning. I thought I'd better bring out the tonic for Nanny. It was left in the surgery.
How kind of you. Oh, this is my eldest daughter, Elizabeth.
How do you do?
How do you
They
do?
have met before, Mummy. At Christmas.
Oh, yes, of course. When Liz had her cough. How stupid of me.
Yes.
Well, Elizabeth says that Nanny's much better today.
Oh, good. I think I'll just go up and see her as I'm here. I know the way.
Well, if you want a lift from your father after lunch, you better go and ride now.
Yes. Coming, Liz? Not just now, in 5 minutes. That's what I thought.
Good morning, Helen. May I come in?
My dear Morris, how nice to see you. Let me take your coat.
Thank you, my dear. I hope I'm not interrupting anything.
Not at all. Do come in and sit down.
Elizabeth, splendid to see you back. For good, I hope.
I hope so, too.
I thought Arthur might like to have the lessons for Sunday.
Oh, thank you very much. I'll give it to him. Deuteronomy 24.
That's right. If a man finds some uncleanness in his wife, let him write her a bill of divorcement.
Such an unsuitable lesson I always think for nowadays when half the congregation are getting divorced.
I know. That's why we're omitting the first 4 verses and starting with the 5th. It's not particularly apt to the modern world, but a charming thought.
What's that?
When a man hath taken a new wife, he shall not go out to war, neither shall he be charged with any business, but he shall be free at home 1 year.
Oh, I hope that doesn't give our young men ideas.
Incidentally, there's a piece of business we must charge ourselves with fairly soon.
What's that?
The church fete.
Yes, of course.
We don't want to clash with the other villages, and my helping ladies do like plenty of notice. Now, have you any preference?
No, not really. Any Saturday except June the 15th. Now, that's when we open the gardens to the Red Cross. Well, as long as the fete comes after that.
That's a wise stipulation. One can't pretend that the fate doesn't leave a certain amount of wreckage in its wake. I always feel rather guilty about your lawns.
Well, Arthur and I are going to Scotland in August, so early September would suit us best. How about the first Saturday in September?
Yes, that'll suit very well. I'll make a note of it.
We had it in September, the year the pig got loose and bolted through the herbaceous border. And Gates wanted to shoot it.
Yes, that pig. But it's always a popular sideshow. Do you remember how you guessed the weight right, Liz? And all you children insisted on keeping the pig afterwards?
Oh, she was a most endearing animal.
The tears when the fatal day came for old Jacks to come and kill it. Do you know, I remember I was rather shocked at you. Because once the foul deed was done, you dried your eyes very quickly and insisted on watching the cutting up process.
Well, perhaps Elizabeth was already showing signs of her future interest in surgery. I don't believe I've ever congratulated you upon your degree. What are your plans now?
It depends on a lot of things.
You know, I never feel that anyone thanks you and Arthur enough for letting us spoil your beautiful garden.
Oh, it's part of our job. There's been a fete at Larkfield every summer for I don't know how many years. As a matter of fact, I met Arthur at the one in 1911, coronation year. I was staying with Lady Hedbury at the time and she brought me over. Arthur brought a fellow barrister down from his chambers to help him run the bowling alley.
I remember. It was only my 3rd year in the parish. Oh, we've certainly never missed a fete since then, except during the war years.
And even then there was a children's party each July, I believe.
Which reminds me, I had a letter from the bishop's secretary about the next confirmation in October. As you know, we're combining the 3 villages, Winchley, Layford and Castle Holt. It would be as well if you were to choose a day when Arthur is free, as the bishops gets booked up so very far in advance, I imagine you intend to entertain him to dinner as usual?
Yes. Well, Arthur's in his study. Let's go and see him now. I wonder if you'd go upstairs and see what's happening. Liz, Dr. Harrington's been rather a long time with Nanny.
I expect she's showing him her photograph album and boring him to tears.
By the way, why don't you come and have lunch with us after church on Sunday? We're just going to be the family, and Anne's inviting a young man for the weekend.
Ask your mother to make sure Nanny takes the tonic. It should put her on her feet again.
Yes, of course. Is there any chance of meeting soon?
Oh, what about tonight?
Yes, I could, but my parents will be out.
There's just one problem. Dr. Cropper wants me to go to a lecture and discussion in Worcester this afternoon on the treatment of infantile paralysis.
Would that matter?
Only that it may go on late. Could we possibly meet over that way instead of Hereford?
Yes, but where?
Do you know a big new roadhouse on the Lee Green crossroads between Worcester and Malvern?
That black and white fake Tudor monstrosity with a thatched roof.
Yeah, that's it. Could we meet at 7?
I'll come in my new car, as near as 7 as I can.
I'll be waiting for you.
Well, I'm glad that's settled. Best to get these things fixed early.
Yes, absolutely.
And we look forward to seeing you for lunch on Sunday.
That will be delightful, Arthur.
Bye-bye, Mummy and Daddy. I'm just off to the Hanbury Becks now. Take the dogs.
Take your mat too, darling, because it looks like rain.
I will. Goodbye, Rector.
Goodbye, my dear. Oh, such a charming girl.
Come on, Sally. Smoke. Silly dogs. Come on.
Liz?
Yes?
What was all that about the tonic? You did see him yesterday. Did I? I think you might tell me. We've never had secrets before.
It's not my secret. I'll tell you as soon as I possibly can.
We could have a good talk tonight. Mummy and Daddy are out.
Sorry, I'm going to the cinema.
Oh, pity.
Hurry up if you're going out for a ride or you'll be late back.
Oh, tell her. I couldn't wait for her.
Well, she'll be terribly upset.
There's Gates with the car. I gotta go.
Sorry I'm late, Daddy.
And I have got to leave at once.
Oh, but I'm ready. I don't want any lunch, Mummy. Just give me a moment to wash.
I am not going to take you into Horbury dressed like that.
Oh, just give me 5 minutes to change.
No, I have to go. I'm late as it is. Now, you want to get down to the start and get a bit earlier. Cheerio, my dear. I'll phone if I'm going to stay that night.
All right. That is quite right, darling. You can't go into a town in jumpers. Now, you better go and get yourself some lunch.
Damn. I did want to have my hair permed. It's so expensive in London. It's looking a mess, I know. I could borrow your Riley.
No, you can't. It's at the garage having its hood mended. Alan Chapman's not bringing it in till 5:30 this evening. I know, you better take the 3:30 bus.
Oh, that'll be too late. My appointment's at 2:30. I know.
Where are you going?
To change. I can't go into Horbury dressed like this.
Yes, and how are you going to get in?
I'm going to borrow Liz's car.
No, you can't do that.
Oh, why not? It's just sitting there in the garage doing nothing.
Well, you better ring her at the Hanbury Becks, then.
Do stop fussing, Mummy. Liz won't mind. We've always shared everything. You know we have.
You realise she's going to the cinema this evening? I mean, something she especially wants to see.
I'll be back long before then.
And...
Two baskets. Into your baskets, I said.
Oh, what a shame. I woke you.
No, that's all right. I had a nice snooze. Quite long enough.
The Hanbury Becks sent you their love, and they're expecting you to dinner on Thursday week. And guess what? Tony's decided he wants to be a doctor.
Oh, his father won't like the idea of that.
No, he won't. Any more than mine does. Where's Anne?
Well, gone to Horbury to have a permanent wave. I thought you knew.
Yes, of course.
I'd rather she hadn't taken your car.
My car?
But don't say she didn't ring you.
She did not.
Well, I told her to.
I'll kill her.
Well, she said you wouldn't mind because you always shared everything.
Well, I'm not sharing my car with Anne. She's a rotten driver.
Don't shout at me. It's not my fault.
It is, Mummy. If she thinks it's all right to pinch my car without asking, you must have brought her up badly.
She was in a tearing hurry. I couldn't stop her.
Well, somebody should have.
Come on, I'm going to be so late. Oh, come on.
Hello? No, I'm afraid he's out. Yes, Mr. Beavis, I'll tell him. 10 o'clock, next Tuesday, clerk of the court's office. Yes, thank you. Sure your leg's all right?
Yes, I just bumped my knee against the gear levers. Afraid I've dented your mud guard.
You've done far worse than that. You've smashed the headlamps too.
I'll pay for new ones.
That's not the point. Thanks to you, I can't use it now. You are impossible, Anne.
I'm sorry, I was in a hurry. It's raining so hard, I must judge the turn, and I am sorry, Liz.
Why didn't you ask me if you could take it in the first place?
Because you weren't here.
You knew where I was. You could have rung me up.
I was in a hurry.
Kill you, I really could.
There's no need to be so cross.
Isn't there? Isn't there? How would you like it if I rode to Lula without asking and lamed her? I'm half an hour late already.
It's only a film.
But I want to go. I arranged to go.
Well, can't you go and see it tomorrow afternoon?
No. It's got to be tonight. It's got to be.
What is this film anyway, and who are you going with?
What does it matter?
All right, if it's so important, ring for a taxi. I'll pay for it.
I can't.
Why not?
Taxi drivers gossip.
Oh, God. I see. You were going to meet him. How awful of me. If only I weren't so scatty.
Yes, if only you weren't.
Well, does it really matter that much? Can't you ring him up and explain?
I don't know where he is.
What do you mean?
We arranged to meet at the big roadhouse at Lee Green, but I don't know what it's called.
And you call me scatty?
Yes, I suppose it was a bit vague. But if I had my car, it wouldn't have mattered.
Don't rub it in. I suppose you could go on your bike.
15 miles on a night like this. Thanks.
Sorry.
We had so much to talk about, too.
I'm sorry.
Just stop saying that.
Hello? Oh, yes. Hold on a minute. Yes, she is. It's Brian Harrington. Says he wants to talk to you about Nanny's condition. Good luck. I'll go and see if Gates can do anything about your car.
Brian, thank goodness you've rung.
I've been waiting nearly an hour.
My dear sister's crashed my poor little car. I didn't know the name of the roadhouse, so I couldn't ring you up.
I thought you might have had a crash yourself, in this weather.
I'm so terribly sorry. It wasn't my fault.
Oh, I didn't for 1 minute think it was. Is it all right to talk?
Yes.
I suppose we'll have to call it off for tonight.
I'm afraid so. But when can we meet?
What about Tuesday?
Tuesday, yes.
Same time and place?
Oh, why not? What is it called?
The thatched barn.
Yes, of course. I should have known. How was your symposium?
Well, interesting as far as it went, but I'm afraid there's not much we can do about infantile paralysis.
Someone's coming.
Oh, I better ring off then.
Yes, I'm horribly disappointed.
Not more than I am. Till Tuesday evening, here. All right?
Till then.
raining sheets. You'll be glad to hear your car safely back in the garage. Gates managed to drive it there. And he said the headlamps are nothing. Just 2 new bulbs and 2 new glasses. But the mudguard will have to be beaten out and repainted, so you may have to drive around with a dent for a bit. You're not listening to a word I'm saying.
Sorry.
You really are in love, aren't you? And him, a married man.
Yes, a married man. He's got a wife. But...
But what?
This is utterly, totally secret.
Of course.
Swear.
I swear.
She's left him for good.
Gracious.
What's more, she's in love with someone else.
Well, obviously, that's what he wanted to talk to you about this evening. So you'll marry him?
Oh, we haven't discussed anything properly yet. His wife only told him yesterday. But I know Brian thinks a doctor should be married. So what is there to stop us?
Nothing. Except the family will absolutely hate it.
That's just too bad. I know Brian is right for me. And if he thinks I'm right for him, the family will just have to lump it. It would be a good marriage, Anne, honestly.
I'm sure it would.
You don't like him, do you?
Oh, I don't dislike him. I just don't feel easy with him. Not that we've even spoken more than 2 words to each other. Oh, Liz, I hope everything goes all right for you. Forgive me about the car. I promise I won't do it again.
I should jolly well hope not.
What do you think of my hair?
It looks as though it's just been permed.
Oh, no, I wish I hadn't had it done now.
Oh, so do I. When's Michael Sherwood arriving?
Oh, late tomorrow. He's flying all day at Hendon and arriving in time for dinner. And on Sunday he's driving me up after tea.
What you might call a flying visit.
Ha, ha.
Mummy was saying she hopes you're not serious about him.
Oh, I don't think I am.
Oh, it's just as well. If I married a divorced doctor and you married a Roman Catholic, it would not be much fun for our poor parents.
Well, at least if I married Michael, I couldn't get divorced. It would have to be forever, him being an RC.
Yes, but for goodness sake, let's just try and keep off the subject tomorrow night.
What subject?
Marriage, religion and divorce.
I'll second that. We'll play a paper game. That'll be safe.
And the world said join the mustard club. Now, Arthur, yours is the last, isn't it?
Yes. This is hysterical Mr. Baldwin. Oh, Mr. Baldwin. Timid Amy Johnson at Buck House. He said to her, the sun's over the yardarm, what about a pink gin?
Oh, that was you, Daddy.
Shush. And she said to him, Friday night is... Her name, what's that?
A marmy night.
Oh. The result was an earthquake. And the world said, mad dogs of Englishmen...
Go out in the midday, out in the midday, out in the midday sun.
Shall we have another round and play something else?
Would you like another drink, Michael?
I like it.
Oh, dear, it is getting late, isn't it? Would you like to go up?
What do you think? It's awfully rude of me. I was night flying last night and I had to get up at dawn.
What's this, practising for the Hendon show?
Yes.
Looping the loop and things.
And things.
We went to the display last year, you know. It's very impressive.
I'm hoping Anne will come again this year, and any of you who are able.
Oh, we'd love to if we're free. There's so many events in the summer.
When did you get your licence?
At Cambridge. The University Air Squadron comes under Auxiliary Air Force.
Doesn't your mother worry?
Well, if she does, she doesn't say so.
Ah, poor fellow. We're keeping you up.
Well, breakfast is at 9:30 tomorrow, is it Sunday?
Yes, a walk round the policies and then, church about 11:15.
Oh, but the thing is, I'll be going to Mass at my own church, sir, at Holbury.
And I'm going with him. I've never been to a Catholic church.
Well, good night. Good night.
Good night, Michael.
Good night,
Sleep
Michael.
well.
Good night.
I'll let the dogs out.
Oh. Young man's a Catholic. Did you know this?
Yes, as a matter of fact, I went to his mother's wedding years ago. At St. James's Spanish Place. She was an O'Malley.
I don't want to play the heavy father, Anne, but I don't think you should go to the Catholic Church tomorrow.
Why not? There's only one God, isn't there? So long as I worship him, what does it matter where?
No, not tomorrow.
Well, I'm not letting my guests go off to church alone.
No, is that what I meant? You see, the rector is coming to lunch tomorrow, isn't he? Well, he's going to think it's rather odd, isn't he?
Nanny was so disappointed to miss the service. She especially wanted to come, but she has been a little bit seedy lately with a nasty cough, so I thought she shouldn't risk it.
Very wise.
Excuse me while I go and get my lunch ready.
Of course, Helen, of course.
Well, do go in, Boris.
Thank you.
Now, you're going to have a glass of sherry?
Well, that would be very nice indeed, yes. I was wondering if Anne were indisposed too. I didn't notice her in church.
Well, no. She went over to the Catholic church at Horbury this morning, you know, with a young man we've got staying. She didn't want him to go alone.
Oh, quite right, too. Politeness to her visitor and curiosity, no doubt, about the Roman rite. Oh, it's no use pretending it doesn't exist. Indeed, it has many charms. The vestments, the incense, the old Latin form of service.
And horrid little tin shacks to worship in. Well, don't you sometimes feel guilty, Mr. Fuller, when you look at our beautiful church? After all, it was built by the Roman Catholics, and then we stole it from them at the Reformation.
Well, now, steady on.
No. There's truth in what she says. I've often wished that we could make our churches available to them for services. Now, I won't live to see it, but it's possible the ecumenical movement will grow to the point where we shall all worship the same God in the same church, but agree to differ on points of dogma.
Well, as rector's warden, I would second that.
Thank you, Commander.
You are in a very wardroom mood today, Daddy. But you read the lesson beautifully. Didn't he, Mr. Fuller?
Indeed, yes.
Here we all are.
Well, now, you're going to have a little more sherry, Morris?
Thank you, no. I have a busy afternoon.
Hello, everybody. Have we kept you waiting?
No, we've only just arrived ourselves.
Well, this is Michael Sherwood, Mr. Fuller, our rector.
Mr. Sherwood?
How do you do?
A glass of sherry, Michael.
Oh, thank you, sir.
Oh, we went to church in Horbury, to Michael's church.
So I hear. The priest there, Father Leonard, is an old friend of mine. And what did you think of Horbury?
It's a very nice town.
Yes, indeed.
Such a funny little church. A wooden hut, really, but it was packed. All the O'Connells were there. They sent their love.
Oh, we haven't seen them for ages. Anyone else we know?
Wasn't there someone in the pew behind us, Anne?
Well, not really.
Yes, well, you smiled at him when we came out.
Well, who was it, Anne?
Well, no one, honestly. Come on, who's your new beau?
Quite a nice sort of looking chap. I felt quite jealous. I had a better look at him when we took communion together. Doctor something.
Dr. Harrington?
Yes, it was.
I didn't know that Harrington was a Catholic.
Nor did I. Well, there's no reason why any of us should have known. After all, he's not a close friend. He's just our new doctor, that's all.